Hello, hello. Hey, no screaming. No screaming. Goodness me. Hold on. Hold on. But I need you to put this on. I know you're really hungry because you refuse to eat your breakfast. So here. Hey y'all. TamikiaTT here. Merry Christmas.
Look, no,
Yeah. Merry Christmas. And I don't know. Nobody's in the live yet. So I'm just gonna say Merry Christmas. I'm gonna get him together. Watch out, baby. All right. So don't plan to be here very long. I never plan to be here very long. I don't know what's going on with my face today. I'm tired, y'all. I'm tired. I'm supposed to be on vacation and haven't really been on vacation. I've been working because I'm a workaholic whose recovery is not going well. So I have some hot chocolate here. This boy was giving me trouble. Here. It's not hot anymore. Hi, Dominique. Merry Christmas. Okay.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Yeah, baby D. Merry Christmas.
Let's go on the
Put the spoon down. Hey, Heather Page. Merry Christmas. This one here is drinking all my hot chocolate that's not hot anymore. All right, so we got about 8 people. 8 people in. It is cold here in Florida. Not as cold as it was over the weekend, though. I've been burning my fireplace every single day for almost the last week. Well, I'm gonna say since Friday. I'm burning the fireplace now just to keep it like warm in here. Crazy. Hey, chasing rainbows. Hi, love. Oh, Wakanda, yes. You keep changing your name. Hey, lady.
Mommy.
Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you can't see him. You say Merry Christmas. Say Merry Christmas. Come on, right here.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Yes. I'm drinking.
Yeah.
I want to drink.
You want to drink? Okay, more hot chocolate. I've been drinking hot chocolate all week. He has not even been the least bit interested. But today, all of a sudden, he wanted what mommy has. Probably because he didn't eat his breakfast. He should have ate his oatmeal. I ate the oatmeal. He didn't want to eat the oatmeal. Okay, you're blocking mommy. You and all your hair. You want to get down?
No.
Yes. Come on, let's get down for a little bit.
No.
Okay, mommy needs her lap for the computer.
No. I'll go to mommy.
Wait. Give me a minute. Okay, listen. Oh, Lord. Look, mommy needs her lap. Come over here. Okay. You're so excited. No, come here. Look, I got pants for you and everything, but not that you'll wear them. Here, get up here. No, come here. Oh, now he wants to wear his pants. Okay. Let's see what we got. I might have a blessing on the way. I applied for a grant for meds, and if my clinic can complete the application today, I'm praying so hard this will be a miracle from God. Oh goodness! Let's all pray for Heather Page. Those medications are so expensive. Oh my gosh. Whoo! I'm praying for you, girl. I'm gonna say a prayer right now. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. It's already done for you, Heather. It's already done. We got to speak like the miracle is already done for us. Let's put all that energy out there that you're gonna get it. You're gonna get it. It's got, and it's on your way. On your way. That is awesome. Oh, thank you, Dominic. Thank you. I just took his braids out. Usually I redo his braids either on Sunday night or Monday morning. It is officially Monday. But he wouldn't let me take him out, so I had to take him out last night while he was sleeping. And we're just waiting for me to wash his hair to redo the braids. So this is like too close. A little too close for my comfort. Let me back this up a little bit. All right, so we got about 9 people here. We've been here about 5 minutes. I'm just gonna get started because it is the day after Christmas. Everybody's trying to like relax and all of that great stuff. I am still gonna do my traditional live for New Year's, so this doesn't negate that at any. I'm still planning to be here New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is more about like fun, and just bringing in the new year, having a good drinky drink, if as long as you're not expecting, or drinking responsibly. Drinking responsibly. No, don't step over the cord.
I do it this week.
You want to? He put his own pants on. Come on, if you want to have a drink, then come over here and sit down.
Okay.
Okay.
It's a trick. It's chocolate. Gabby punch.
Come on.
Gabby punch.
It's not punch. It's hot chocolate with lots of marshmallows. Marshmallows are all melted.
Gabby punch. Gabby punch.
I've been calling the clinic all day because I don't want them to drop the ball. Absolutely. Harass, and harass some more because you know how they be. They'll be like, oh, we forgot. Da, 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 da. So many patients. Yada, yada, yada. Tell them, get it in, get it in, get it in. All right. So this is where we start. All right. So I think the last time I left off, I don't even know where I left off on the last live. So let me just catch y'all up. All right. So this is IVF number 4, a retrieval. Mommy's talking. Okay.
What's mommy?
Mommy's right here, but mommy's talking. So folks need to hear me. Okay. He hamming it up for the camera, y'all. All right. So yeah. So this was a back-to-back IVF retrieval. I did a retrieval last month in November. So this one came up pretty quickly. I think I said I wanted to talk to the RE about my protocol. I believe I said in the last live, because I think I did that live from the car, and I must have was just coming back from talking that it was going to be the same protocol. It was even have a seat, sir. Have a seat. And I was even closer to the birth control this time around. You hear him just say, get off. Have a seat. Well, then get down. Get down, because you're doing too much. Didn't I say I was going to talk about bringing the baby home? Anyway. Let's see if we can get through this while he's busy on his tablet. All right. So it's the exact same protocol. I had the options. He gave me like 3 or 4 different options. I had the option to change my protocol. This was my last retrieval that I ever planned to do in life. So I'm like, the previous cycle was essentially a success. Why rock the boat? Let's just do the same thing. So that's what I opted to do. I didn't get to start after my cycle dropped because they needed me to start like right away. So it was one of those type situations where they were like, we need you to come in for like stop the birth control. I think I started it on Monday. I had to stop it on Wednesday. I was getting my baseline ultrasound on Friday. I'm literally on the phone on the way because the clinic is like an hour away. So I'm on the way to the clinic calling one pharmacy to get my, well, no, it couldn't have been Friday. It was Thursday. Hey, Latundra, and Merry Christmas. So I think it was Thursday. So it's Thursday morning. I'm on my way to Melbourne, which is like an hour away. I'm on the phone. I'm calling one pharmacy, trying to get my meds shipped so that they could arrive on Friday. And then or was it Wednesday? No, it was Thursday. Y'all, it's all such a blur. It's all such a blur. So either way, the meds were to arrive on Friday. And so then I'm in the office on the table on the phone with another pharmacy trying to get the Omnitrope so that could be delivered by Friday. And anyway, all the turn it down. Turn it down. Thank you. So all the meds came Friday afternoon. I was able to start around 2:15-ish. I took my first meds. Now, mind you, I was on the birth control probably a few days, but like I said in the last live, there was concern about since I was just off a cycle, me having a bunch of cysts. That wasn't the case. My ovaries were nice and quiet. Okay, fine. So started the meds on Friday. I was back for an ultrasound on Monday, and I had like 9s, right? So follicles just popped right on out. So then the doctor told me come back on Thursday, but he told me to start Ganirelix on Wednesday, which I think was a mistake because he was blindly telling me to start Ganirelix based on the fact that my follicles were at 9, and he was, I guess, trying to gauge how fast they would grow and told me to start on Wednesday. He probably should not have told me to do that because once you start Ganirelix, it kind of slows down the progress. And so you kind of want the follicles to get to a certain point before you start Ganirelix. Even though my follicles kind of popped out within the first few days, they were still slow growing, right? So I don't know. It was just so much weird, but either way. Hey, Arlett, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. So anyway, so I came back on Thursday. I had quite a few follicles. They weren't big. I was hoping by that weekend I would be triggering. That wasn't the case. Long story short, I stemmed probably 12 days. The previous cycle, I stemmed 13 days. I went 12 days this time. They thought he was counting maybe about 10 eggs. My estradiol was doing a lot better than the previous cycle. I did get that drop again in my estradiol before retrieval. So if you recall, if you were watching this for last cycle, my estradiol dropped. I had blood work done right before retrieval, like within like 2, like in a row, and so my estradiol dropped from 9.99 in the last cycle to 9.57, and then this cycle my estradiol got to 12. What was it, 12.50, something like that, and then it dropped to like 12.37. So at 12.37, oh, thank you, Arlett. Thank you. Yes, smash that like button. So at 12, even at 12.37, I was thinking 8, maybe 9 mature follicles. Instead of the 7, maybe 8 previously. Get to retrieval, which happens on a Thursday. And oh my gosh, that week I needed to get to that retrieval on Thursday. It was a lot of praying to get that done on Thursday because Friday was going to be a mess. Anyway, my sitter was able to take me again, which is also a blessing. And fortunately, it happened on Thursday and not Friday because my sitter was going to be off on Friday. She was not going to be able to take me Friday. Come on, you're choking me. So that's another long story short. So get there. I'm awake again for this retrieval. The different doctor, not the one that is my doctor, did this retrieval. So I got the experience for pretty much all the doctors in the clinic. And so I guess he was concerned. The anesthesiologist basically told me that he is like a stickler for like women being uncomfortable, like the oohs, the ahs, the so he was a little nervous about me being awake. They knew I did great previous. They even added a anti-nausea medication because something they gave me the first time while I was on the table made me feel a little nauseous. So they gave me something and that went away. I didn't throw up or anything, but I was starting to get like that extra saliva and all that kind of stuff. So the anesthesiologist this time, or even the nurse was mentioning, like, didn't you get sick the last time? I was like, no, I didn't get sick. And I was like, oh, that's right. I did feel a little nauseous after they pushed something, but that was it. I didn't like get sick. And so they were like, yeah, we're going to give you something for that this time. And I'm like, okay. So then now, then the anesthesiologist tells me that my actual doctor who did my first retrieval allows her to use a anti-cramping medication called Toradol or something like that. But this doctor does not allow them to use that medication. So I probably would be using the hydrocodone after the retrieval this time because I'm not going to get the Toradol. So I was just like, okay, we'll see. I got a high pain tolerance. We'll see how it goes. But what I recall now, this doctor did not have the screen turned so that I can see all the aspiration. He had the screen turned to him. Every doctor is a little bit different. He kind of does the same thing when he does ultrasounds. Like, he kind of just does his thing, and then when he's done, then he turns the screen and starts explaining a few things. The other doctor will turn the screen so I can see while he does his thing. So every doctor is different. I'm not gonna fuss at the doctor for having the screen turned the way he wants to. But it gave me a chance to focus on all the other things that were going on in the room, like listening for the count of the eggs that they were getting out. And I heard the embryologist say 8. I didn't hear anything past that. But what I did notice is, like, after she said 8, the doctor seemed to be still mucking around down there. And I'm really, like, kind of confused, like, what's going on? He seems to be extra busy, like, almost like he kept, like, wiping, like, the roof of my vagina. I don't know if I was, like, bleeding or something went wrong. Nobody said anything. I guess they didn't want to panic me. I wasn't in any pain. I wasn't flinching or anything. But it was just kind of like, what is he doing down there? And I did not feel like the sticks this time. Like I said, last time I felt both needle sticks as he went for both ovaries. I didn't feel the sticks this time, maybe because I wasn't focused on the screen, so that my focus just wasn't there. I didn't feel those, but it just seemed like he was down there for a good long time after he was done aspirating. So I don't know what was going on, but it was just seemed like there was, like, a lot of cleanup. And there was a lot of talk between him and the nurse about, give me this, give me that. Yes, this is fine, this, that, and the other. Him talking to the anesthesiologist. I can't even remember what they said. I just remember being, like, concerned, right? I didn't say anything, but I just remember being concerned about why he was doing so much, right? Because this wasn't my experience the last time. So, hey, Tanya, Merry Christmas. Yeah, it was nice and quiet. That's how I like it. Don't come over there. There's too many cords here, baby. You have to come this way. Here. You can have the rest of it.
Thank you.
Try not to drop it, please. Okay? All right. So, who's going after the hot chocolate? All right. So, I say all that to say because after the retrieval, there was a lot of discomfort. I mean, for days on end. And I drank my water, I drank my coconut water. I did everything that I usually do. It was a lot of discomfort, like, even a week after, like, I'm still feeling sore, which makes me think something abnormal was going on for that retrieval that nobody told me about. Don't play with it. If you're gonna play with it, mommy's gonna take it from you.
No.
If you're gonna drink it, baby. So I don't know. Nobody ever said anything. My RE texted me the next day to ask me how I was feeling. He heard it went well, all this other kind of stuff. So I think something happened. They didn't want to say. I guess they were waiting for me to complain about something. I didn't have any, like, extra bleeding or whatever, but I was sore, like, very sore. Not like crampy, but very sore, like sore to move bowels, sore to move urine for, like, a good week. And that's not normally the case for an egg retrieval. So that was just weird to me. But the experience being away, well, I will say the doctor was just like, no, the anesthesiologist was just a different anesthesiologist from the last retrieval, was just like, you are a really good patient. And then the doctor said, yes, 10 plus. And then the nurse came in and said, you really impressed Dr. Shimon. And I was just like, well, he gave me a 10 plus. Is that hard to get from him? And she said, yeah, it's really hard to get a 10 plus from him. So I was just like, oh, she was like, you didn't flinch at all. And I was like, well, I guess. I mean, and I knew he was nervous about it because he came in, he said, if you were experiencing any pain at all, you let me know. You let me know this and that and the other. And I was like, yeah, it's cool. You know, I got a high pain tolerance. It'll be cool, doc. It was fine last time. I'm sure it'll be fine this time. And so then he goes, and so I made a joke and I said, I'll try not to kick you. And then he says, well, I'm gonna let you know right now, if you kick me, I'm gonna kick you back. So we had a good laugh about that before we even went in. But anyway, so that's that. So because I am a recovering workaholic who recovery is not going well, I actually had about 20 minutes in recovery before I had to get on an actual customer meeting. So I spent an entire hour in recovery on a meeting, of which I had to do most of the talking. So they were nice enough. I was the only one. I guess I was like the late bloomer of everybody who was getting a retrieval that cycle. I was the only one there getting a retrieval, so I was the only one in recovery. They were nice enough to come and like be quiet while I was on my meeting. I didn't get to talk to the head embryologist. He did come by, but I didn't get to talk to him. But I was on the call, so he kind of like saw me on the call and he was like, you know, and I didn't get to see him before I left. So that's just interesting. Like I know I was like kind of under anesthesia but then working at the same time. Somebody put that meeting there at 9 o'clock when my retrieval was at 8. It is what it is, y'all. It is what it is. That's me multitasking to the nth degree. My job has no idea. You know, actually, I told the project manager that I had just had a procedure done that morning, and he was just like, oh boy. So he was on the call. I guess it was just like, she all right, like, you know, she got this or whatever, and the call went fine. And then, you know, my sitter took me home, and I worked the rest of the day. You know, so it is what it is. I'm just done. I'm just glad that it's over, right? But they did tell me while I was back there that they got 8 eggs. It was just a matter of seeing what was mature. I was a little confused given the estradiol numbers, but you know, we'll see. So the next day I got a text from my RE, who of course did not do the retrieval. He texted me and was just like, yay, there were 5 mature and all 5 you know, fertilized. Congratulations. And I was like, okay, so can I expect an actual fertilization report call? I don't know, because it's not like he texted me the first cycle. Yes, I do be doing too much, but the problem is it's the end of the year, Arlett. It's the end of the year. Everybody wants something done. And I knew that doing this retrieval in December was going to be logistical hell, right? Given all the work that was circling around and trying to navigate the appointments and then the actual retrieval and all of that with work was just gonna be madness. And it's not like, you know, a lot of these meetings are really hard to schedule, especially when they're with the customer. If they were just internal meetings, I could have just rescheduled it and it wouldn't have been a big deal. Could have rescheduled it to later in the afternoon, but because this was a customer meeting, the customer sent this meeting notice, right? Nobody asked me if I was available then, because the retrieval kind of came up because it was still questionable whether I was going to go on Thursday or whether I was going to go on Friday. And so my calendar was not blocked off. So I don't know if anybody consulted my calendar at all. This customer seems to be one that will just schedule meetings in general, not ask who's available or whatever, just schedule it. So, you know, the retrieval was early enough. Like I said, I did have 20 minutes to kind of get my bearings before the meeting started. Please stop screaming, please. So I didn't expect it to go the whole hour, but it did go the whole hour. You know, they came in and told me that I could get dressed and leave like right as the meeting was ending. So I was able to get off the meeting, get dressed, walk up out of there, and like kind of chill, at least for the ride home. You know, it is what it is. I was hoping they get me in there, get me out, and then I would be on the ride home and not in recovery, but it is what it is. You know, I don't even know if I mentioned in the last live how like I was one of these cycles, I can't even remember, it's just a blur. One of these cycles I was literally on the table with Wanda up the hoo-ha taking a meeting. Right. So fortunately none of these meetings are like I don't have to be on video. So they don't know what's going on in the background. I'm pretty sure they heard the beeping that sounded like I might have been in the hospital. In my background, can't avoid that beeping because I'm hooked up to the machines and whatnot. So it is what it is. They were like barely taking my blood pressure. Like the machine was taking my blood pressure. It was looking a little high on the machine, but I guess they were like, you know, she's on a work meeting, so her blood pressure's probably gonna be a little high. I don't know. They didn't seem to care. I kept trying to tell her to take it manually because it's always normal when they take it manual. Anyway, I know. Definitely team too much on that one. That was not the expectation. That was not something I was trying to do, but kind of had to do it. I couldn't just not show up. Nobody could answer the questions. Nobody was there to answer the questions. So I had to do that. So it is what it is, right? It is what it is. I swear this job has no idea the level of sacrifice that I go through. But I think that's why they let me get away with certain things. They do recognize that I am the asset that I am. And so they do kind of, I don't want to say look the other way, but they, you know, they kind of give me a little slap on the wrist for some, you know, for some things that I do or don't do. So it is what it is. Merry Christmas, Nikki Talley. Welcome, welcome. Hey, Shar, Merry Christmas. Also do that. That customer would have been there at 1 o'clock. Work-life balance lady, especially with two. No, I know. I mean, I knew that I was awake. I wasn't going to be like groggy or anything. So I was cool to take the call. I might have been a little slow on the thinking though, depending on the questions, but I've been at my job for 10 years. Most of the stuff is like second nature. I don't have to think that much to answer these questions. So it wasn't a big deal. They're just a really needy customer. They always have been, and we're on a very, very short timeline. So trying to reschedule and they're like overseas. So trying to get them to come later in the afternoon is also troublesome because it's like later in the evening for them as well, for the people who needed to be on the call, which is why the call was in the morning. So it is what it is. It is what it is. It's over now though, right? It's over now and we can all put it behind us. The customer was happy though at the end of the call, so that's all that matters. I don't know how well it's getting around that I had a medical procedure and then took that call. And so people could say, this girl's amazing. You know, I don't know. You know, it is what it is. It wouldn't be the first time that I was sick or impaired in some way, not like with like drugs or alcohol, but just impaired under the influence of just not feeling well or whatever and taking meetings like that. I've become very accustomed to it. I don't recommend it though. I don't recommend it. So, all right. So let's get to my fertilization report. So next day comes, like I said, the doctor called me, already told me that five were mature out of those 8, all 5 fertilized. Great. So the nurse did actually call me and I said, well, you know, Dr. L already spilled the beans. And she said, I figured because I told him this morning. And so she said, yeah, so 5 of 5. That's awesome. And I was just confused that only 5 were mature out of the 8, considering my estradiol numbers. Now, I know a lot of women said that the omnitrope created like cysts, and I got to think maybe it was doing that for me too. I've never had the drop in the estradiol right before the retrieval. Like I did these 2 cycles, and maybe that's something that happens with women who are on omnitrope. I don't know. Clearly, they were counting big follicles, expecting to get at least 10 eggs. They only got 8. I didn't feel like I was ovulating like I was the cycle before. So maybe I was starting to ovulate and they just happened to catch what they catch. Maybe there were some cysts in there that were generating estradiol. I don't know. It is what it is. We'll never know. So, you know, 5 of 5, great. But the tidbit that she did drop on me is that there was talk around the table about not giving me a day 5 report and just letting the embryos go to day 6 and then biopsying if there were 3. Now, the way she told me made it seem like they were just trying to get that $4,400 that was already prepaid from the previous cycle that I didn't use to do the PGT biopsy. And they were just trying anything that they could to get 3 embryos so that they could go ahead and do the biopsy and not have to refund that money or give me an opportunity to make a decision on whether I wanted to biopsy if there were 3, right? So I felt the way about it and I just said, okay. And then I waited. So then then we get to day 3, right? All right. Hey, Heather, I'm not sure which careers are represented here. Does anyone know if it's possible to enter human resources without a degree in HR? Oh, I don't know. I feel like I've met people in HR who didn't have degrees. I think you can get in it, but maybe it might be hard to promote without the degree. I'm just guessing. I don't know I don't work in HR. I know some people who have, but I don't work in HR. Okay, so day 3. All right, so day 3, okay, Tanya. Okay, if you have a degree in business or customer relations. Okay, that's good to know. Wonderful. You work in HR, Tanya? I don't know what you do. Okay, so day 3. All right, so here I had 5. Remember, I had 5 that fertilized. And let me see here. Let me show you because I have follicle pictures. So, all right. So day 3. Let's present. All right. So here was the first photo. I know a lot of you guys follow me on Instagram, so you've seen these photos. All right. There we go. Let's try this. Do something. Come on. There we go. That's better. All right. So here's what the follicles look like on day 3. I had 1 that arrested after 2 cell. All the other 4 were 8 cell, I was told. Okay. This one here didn't look so hot. So I was just like, I probably really only have 3 still going because this one didn't look so hot. This one was a little questionable to me as well. The other 2 look good. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't have the trained eye here. I just know that looking at these, especially like looking at them from my previous cycle, the cells are not quite as visible, I guess, for lack of a better term, on this embryo here. She said they were all 8 cells, so maybe it was just maybe the way the magnification was, it doesn't make it look so hot. But and this was just the best picture she could get of the rest of these. But clearly this one stopped after the 2 cell. And then this clearly looks like 8 cell. This looks like 8 cell. This looks like 8 cell. This just kind of looks like a glob. So it just didn't look like it was doing very well. But maybe it was in the process of, separating some more. I don't know. So so I get this email. Jadon, come in here where mommy can see. He's up to something. Anyway, what she said in the email was that they're growing. That's good news. I did have the one that arrested, and that they would report back to me on day 6. Now, I already had an inkling that they were trying to do the day 6 thing, and so I was prepared to hear that. And so I said, okay, that's fine. Thank you for letting me know. The only question I had was, what are the risks of allowing an embryo that was ready on day 5 to continue to grow to day 6, right? All right, Tanya, you answered my question. Training for United Healthcare. Okay. higher agents and current agents who need to be cross-trained. Are these the agents that answer the phone? Because they need to be better. Okay? Because I don't know. Anyway, I don't want to get on my soapbox about United Healthcare. I didn't have a good experience fertility-wise. Those ones answering the fertility phones were not knowledgeable, like, at all. You know, telling my doctor I didn't have coverage when in fact I didn't even know what the acronyms meant. I don't even know why they were even on this phone that was supposed to be specific to the fertility part. So anyway, I'm not going to get on my high horse about that. So anyway, yeah, back to this. So yeah, so I asked her what were the risks, and let me find the email because I want to say what she said specifically, because she did not answer my question, and I want you guys to get the level of spin around that I was getting when I asked this very, very direct question. So here's what she said. Today is day 3 of your embryo culture. Your 5 fertilized embryos have divided and grown, which is great news. It's expected for day 3 embryos to be between 6 to 8 cell stage. You have 4 of your 5 embryos that are at the 8 cell stage. There is 1 slower growth embryo at the 2 cell stage. The next step for these embryos is to continue to grow until the blastocyst stage, which is the stage needed to perform biopsy and freezing. We will give you another update on day 6 of your embryo culture on Wednesday. That Wednesday would have been the 21st of December. Get down, baby.
Yes.
And then she says, see attached for pictures of your day 3. So that's the picture that I'm showing up here. Okay.
Mommy.
So get down. So I said, okay, thank you, Dr. Roberge. My only question about waiting to day 6 is what are the risks to an embryo that would be ready on day 5? Her response was, hi, Tamikia, will be assessing your embryos on day 5. However, since your request is to have your embryos biopsied only if there are 3 or more blastocysts, it is very unlikely, based on your last cycle, that you will have that many blastocysts ready on day 5. It is more likely that your blastocysts will be ready on day 6. And hopefully to have 3 or more ready for biopsy, we will keep you posted. Now, do that sound like she answered my question? No. She didn't answer my questions at all, right? And so I said, thank you for your reply, Dr. Rivers. However, you have not answered my question. Given that you will be assessing the embryos on day 5, what are the risks of allowing a day 5 blastocyst that is ready to be frozen to continue to grow to day 6 in an attempt to get 3 for biopsy? My concern is that allowing it to continue to grow may affect its timing to implant at transfer. So her response to that is, hi, Tamikia, the day 5 blastocysts will continue to grow and have more cells overnight. Well, no duh, okay? It may hatch out of its zona, the shell of the embryo. So that's, if I get back over here, that's this part here. This is the zona pellucida, which you kind of see this little ring around, which they do put on day 3. They do the assisted hatching on day 3, so that helps it out, because as an older woman, our zona pellucidus become a little hardened, so it can be a little difficult for the embryo to hatch out or for a sperm to penetrate for fertilization, which is why they recommend the ICSI, which is the intracytoplasmic sperm injection. All right, so then she says, it may hatch out of its zona, the shell of the embryo, by day 6, and that is perfectly fine. As for your question about timing for implant, we routinely put back day 5 or day 6 blastocysts at transfer without interfering with pregnancy outcome. The implantation of the embryo is affected by several factors. Since your question is more clinical than embryology related, your physician is the best person to answer this question. My question was not clinical at all. It had everything to do with embryology. She still didn't say whether there was a risk or not, other than she said it'll be just fine, whatever. Either way, everybody was CC'd on this email chain, including the doctor who's not my doctor, the doctor who is my doctor, the nurse, and the head embryologist. Nobody replied to this. I didn't even bother to reply because I'm like, they're just not going to answer my question directly. So I was a little miffed about that, so I just didn't bother engaging anymore. Tanya, yes, sis, but I work in the Medicare retirement program and community and state program. I wish I could train them all, but unfortunately, that's not the case. All right, girl, was maybe you need to get on over, slide on over there to the fertility part so you can so you can train them because they need some work over there. Yeah, she's still dodging the question. Said a lot to not say much. Absolutely, still dodging the question completely. Bree, hi Bree, Merry Christmas. Hey, Lady Leo, good morning. Merry Christmas after, or whatever you want to call it. Good morning. So I didn't want to chase it down anymore. At this point, it's very clear to me you want to go to day 6 because you're searching for that 3 so that you can do this biopsy, right? Now, let me just say that during my retrieval process, I filled out I signed a paper 3 times. And every time they brought this paper to me to sign, I said, I just signed this paper. And they were like, oh, well, no, there's more information on this one, or there's different information on this one, or they didn't even have your donor number on the other one. You know, I filled the paper out I not filled it out, but I signed it 3 times to say what to do with my embryos when it came down to freezing and for PGT testing. It's a specific sheet of paper about PGT testing. I signed it before my cycle started. I signed it mid-cycle after one of my monitoring sessions, and I signed it again. What are you doing?
Okay. Yeah.
Come over here and have a seat. Or maybe I signed it. I kept saying I signed it after the retrieval, but I think it wasn't after the retrieval. Who PP? You PP?
Yes, PP.
You should have gone to the potty. Where does PP go?
PP goes in the potty.
So why didn't PP go in the potty?
PP goes in the potty.
So why didn't you go to the potty?
PP goes in the potty.
That's all I'm gonna say.
This
3-year-old. So but anyway, I filled it out 3 times. So it must have been 3 times during my monitoring process. She's like, oh no, no. Leave it alone. I got a gift up there for another little kid. He's trying to get at it. Come here. You've opened your gifts. That gift is for Nathan. Don't take your pants off. Okay, take your pants off. But don't start undressing. You should have gone to the potty. So you know, okay, fine. So it's clear to me that they're after this 4,400. They don't want to have to return it. And so they're dodging my question. Like, it's almost like you want to put my embryos at risk for this $4,400, right? I'm specifically asking about the risk because they know if they call me on day 5 and say, hey, you have one ready, do you want us to biopsy it before we freeze it? I'm going to say no, because I said that before the previous cycle. I've said from day 1 back in March when I met with this RE that I was not going to do PGT testing unless I had 3 good embryos that were worth testing. So I've never wavered on that. This is not a surprise to them. You know, I prepaid the $4,400 to do the biopsy in good faith, right? Not knowing what would come out of the situation. I think given my age, they probably thought I wouldn't even get 3 or whatever. They were very surprised at how many eggs they were able to get out the first time. This time was kind of like, they got 8. They looked for like 10 to 14 in any regular person. Getting 8 from me at 42 was actually pretty good. So, you know, and then 5 being mature, all 5 fertilizing, you know, folks are like super duper excited about that. So it's just like, all right, let's just see how it goes. You know, day 3 is day 3. I know how my cycles have gone in the past. This is my 4th time around. They always seem to fall off like at day 4. So for me, you know, it's just kind of like I need to see the day 5 report to really feel good about what's going on. All right, I do have a question. Do you recommend doing PGT? So I'm an advocate for PGT. I did PGT on my last trip, right? At 38, right? I think my feeling about it is if you're over 35, it's worth doing PGT. Studies will say PGT is not worth it unless you're over 40. Granted, I'm over 40 now. right? But even with my 38-year-old age, the 2 retrievals that I did prior, each time I sent 3 embryos to be tested and only 1 embryo came back normal. That was at 38. So in my mind, and this is what's driving this, in my mind, and I want to say price. Hey, can we be a little bit more quiet? No. No, please. So so the price for PGT for the biopsy, not even the test. The test doesn't cost this much, right? The test 4 years ago, the lab that was doing PGT testing charged $150 per embryo plus $150 shipping and handling. They told me this time, get down, sir. Get down from the table. 1.
She went backwards.
2. 3. I'm gonna have to get up, y'all. 4. Get down. That's what I thought.
No.
Don't stand on that table again. So the price for PGT for the biopsy at the time was $2,500. And the thing about it is the biopsy is the same price, whether you're biopsying 1 embryo or biopsying 50. They don't change the price. The price is the price, right? So at $2,500, you know, it was worth it to me, right? To pay it. Then I didn't have any history. I didn't know what was going to come back, what was going to come of it. So I paid the $2,500 for them to biopsy, and then it was another $600 to do the actual testing of what they biopsy. This time around, the biopsy is $4,400, which is like absurd to me. And in my mind, it's just not worth the cost because my insurance, I have insurance that pays for my IVF 100% after my deductible is met. For $4,400, I can do 3 transfers, right? The only thing I would be risking is miscarriage, possible Down syndrome, not knowing whether the embryos are euploid or not. So given that this is a sibling and I'm not really trying to have more children on my own anyway, single mom by choice, and I have a child, spending that amount of money needs to be justified, right? I knew that I couldn't spend the same kind of money that I put in trying to get baby G, trying to get it right, because every dollar that I spend now trying to have another baby comes out of his mouth, right? So for me, it's not worth it to spend $4,400. No, sir. No. You don't need to bring this over here at all, because I know what you're trying to get at.
No, it's not. No, this is not.
Who are you talking to? You don't talk to mommy that way. Mommy does not like that. You're trying to find something to stand on so you can unlock this door. No. It is Sky. Yes, from Paw Patrol.
It's
Mommy's watching you, even though she's having a conversation over here. Mommy's watching you still. He just walked away. Anyway, so yeah, it just, for me, before I even knew that the biopsy cost $4,400, under the guise that it cost $2,500, I had already decided on 3 embryos. I needed 3 or more to make that worth it. If it were just 2, or if it was just 1, it's cheaper than the cost of the biopsy to just transfer in my book. Now, for somebody who's paying cash, it may not be cheaper, right? So it may be worth paying for less than 3, but for me, it's not less than 3. Now, I get all the reasons why I should do PGT testing, but in reality, I have a history with PGT testing from 4 years ago, and that history says I send 3, only 1 comes back normal. With being 4 years older, I have no reason to believe that's going to get any better, right? And so if I sent 3, only 1 came back normal, and that was always the highest graded embryo, That's what I'm going to go by. I knowing that I was going to do 2 egg retrievals, I don't need to spend not $4,400, but $8,800 doing PGT testing in both cycles to find out that one or possibly none of them come back normal, right? I'd rather just transfer them than spending that kind of money to find out what I kind of already know, right? So the expectation is that even with the omnitrope, only one out of each batch is probably normal, if any, right? So regardless of what the grades are, I've had perfectly graded embryos come back abnormal. So the grading is just the way it looks. It has no bearing on whether it's chromosomally normal or not. So in my mind, one, they need to be graded well for that to make sense, right? Which is, so in my last cycle, even though I had 3 that were frozen, only 2 of them were really worth, testing. So because there were really only 2 good ones there, I didn't bother doing the PGT testing, because that 4AB, which was the highest graded one, is most likely it out of that bunch, right? So I had a 4AB, a 3BC, and a 2BC. Out of that, the 4AB is probably it. So going into this cycle, it's the same thing. I don't need to spend $4,400 for the test to tell me what I already know, that only the best graded one or possibly none are PGT or normal. I don't need to spend the money for that because I have that history. If you don't have a history, you don't know, because there's no test out here that can tell you what your egg quality looks like, right? And at 38, my egg quality was horrible. The only thing going into it at 42 is that what I knew when I did my retrievals at 38 is that my vitamin D was in the toilet at the time that I did those retrievals, and I could only hope with my vitamin D being in a better place, a more appropriate place this time around, that I could get something similar. Maybe I would have had more normals if my vitamin D was in a good place last time. I don't know. We'll never know. But I can't justify spending that kind of money, is all I'm saying. I'm already recommended that I have it done. Yeah, I mean, because, at this age, we're more likely to put out abnormal embryos than we are to put out normal ones, right? And it's really about what you get and how much money you have. Now, to be honest, I would have loved to have done PGT testing to know whether there was a girl in the mix or something like that. But also the reality around that too is I had 6 embryos that were tested 4 years ago, and only one of them was a girl, right? So there are certain things here you just can't choose. You can't control it all. It's going to be what it's going to be. I also know, because I'm in contact with other families that are using my donor mostly puts out boys. There are probably, I think I know of at least, there are 17 plus kids that I know of by my donor that I'm in contact with. In that mix, there are probably maybe 3 girls. All the other kids are boys. So it's just like the donor seems to put out boys. He can put out girls. I know he can put out girls because I have one, and that one was my euploid. It just didn't work with that first transfer. So I don't know. There's a chance that I could get a girl, this go around. I don't know, and I won't know, or I may never know. Right, if I get pregnant early on from transfers. But I feel like my path is already set. My outcome is already determined. I'm just walking the path here and just letting it go and lead it by faith, because I got to be smart with the coin. I got a lot going on here at home. I had a $1,700 car repair. I got probably a $6,000 job to repave my driveway. I paid $9,000 to repipe my house earlier this year. I paid another almost $9,000 in tree work in my yard this year. I had a $3,200 plumbing repair that I had to do Thanksgiving week. My stove died Thanksgiving week. I got a whole kitchen full of appliances that I need to buy because my microwave is going, my stove is going, and my refrigerator is groaning. They're 17 years old. Like there's so much other things that I could be spending this money on than to be given the information that I already know. So that's where my head is with this. Also, I will say that even though I had my retrievals done at this clinic, they don't seem to have any records of what happened with my previous 2 retrievals that I did 4 years ago. So they're only going by the cycle that I just did last month. They don't seem to be looking at the cycles that I did 4 years ago. In the RV's mind, it doesn't matter. It was 4 years ago. I was younger. Situation is different, whatever. Because now I'm 4 years older and a lot changes in 4 years in their mind. So, you know, it is what it is, but I get to choose how I spend my money, and the way this cycle was, turning out, it was almost coming across like they were trying to take control of how and when I spent my money. And that was going to be a problem, right? Because my first thought is, oh, y'all going to wait till day 6. And if there's 3, y'all just going to go ahead and biopsy them so you don't have to refund my money. But the problem is, if those 3 have BS grades, right, or if even one of them has a BS grade, y'all going to have a problem with me, because you all know that grade is not likely to come back normal at my age. So why are you bothering with that? There need to be 3 decent graded embryos in order for me to go. And that's how it was last cycle. That's going to be how it's going to be this cycle. So anyway, on my soapbox, y'all, on my soapbox. But yeah, Tanya, you don't have any history. You don't know what your quality is going to be like. And over 40, the odds are your quality is not going to be that great. So I would say, is it worth it to you, right, to potentially have another miscarriage, having had, chemical pregnancies and miscarriages, right? Because I watch your channel. Is it worth it to you to possibly be told none of the embryos are normal, right? There are studies out there that say that PGT testing is not necessarily the end all be all. If you can get a euploid embryo, great, your best chances are with that. But in reality, there are also thoughts that an abnormal embryo, because the cells that they test are of the placenta, not of the baby, right? So there's a possibility that if you didn't have it tested, and that you implanted it and that you became pregnant with it, that you could have a perfect baby, right? Because just the placental cells had the abnormalities and not the baby cells, right? So that's a possibility as well, right? So my mind here is, I could end up with having nothing to transfer doing PGT testing at my age, given what my history was 4 years ago. I'd rather have a chance at it than pay money to find out I have no chance. So there's that too. There's that thought that the cells will, as they continue to grow, that they correct themselves. And you could just end up with a perfect baby, even though PGT would have said that embryo was abnormal and they would have just thrown it away. Because once you do PGT testing and it's deemed abnormal, there is no RE on this planet that's going to transfer that embryo. Okay, thank you so much. I have to call my benefits, and I'm so happy that with the medical necessities form for my RE, I can pay for my IVF. And thankfully, insurance is covering. I only pay $1,800. Child, listen. You know what I put on my HSA card? I put the sperm cost, the shipping of the sperm, everything related to IVF. You hurt your arm? Because I told you to stop climbing. Well, why is your arm wet? Why is your arm wet? Where have you been messing with water? You've been in that bathroom. Why is your arm wet? Is it okay? Let me see. Make a fist. Blow your hand. Now spread your fingers out. Okay, high five. Okay, it's not broken. That's all I wanted to know. Yeah. So I mean, there's so much that they can cover, but PGT is not covered by any insurance, right? Unless you have a gene or something like that, and you're doing PGT-M instead of PGT-A. In which case, your insurance might cover the cost of a biopsy. You know what I'm saying? But I tried that too, y'all. Unfortunately, my genes came back completely clean. I am not a carrier of anything that they tested. So that didn't help, with the biopsy cost. But anyway, there's a lot of ifs and what ifs and and all that kind of stuff. And you know, over 40, I would definitely say do PGT testing, but it's got to be worth it to you. And I just feel like, you know, if PGT is so important, then don't make the biopsy cost prohibitive. You know, the biopsy costs way too much for especially a woman of advanced maternal age who's not going to have that many to biopsy to begin with. It's not like I got 20 embryos to biopsy. I got 3, maybe 2. I've seen some women in the forums send 1 embryo to get PGT tested. I mean, in my mind, if there was just 1, I'm just going to transfer the 1. Like, for less than the cost of the biopsy, I can just transfer the 1, you know. But I understand, you know, women who are trying to avoid potential miscarriage, you know what I mean, or a potential loss, you know. But PGT does not guarantee that. You can have a perfectly euploid embryo that doesn't work. It's happened to me, right? You can miscarry for some other reason, right? It's not a guarantee you're not going to miscarry. It's not a guarantee that the cycle is going to go successfully. It's not a guarantee of any of that. It increases your chances of success, but it doesn't increase it to 100%. So that's the reality, you know? So in my mind, it's not worth the money to me. It may be worth the money to you, so I'm not here to discourage, but depending on what your clinic is charging for the biopsy, I mean, the testing, you know, it's the $4,400 plus the testing, right? Which I haven't paid for the actual testing yet, because you pay that directly to the lab. But if I got to pay this clinic $5,000 just to take the biopsy, it's just kind of like, whoa, $5,000 for you to biopsy 1 embryo or 2 embryos? It's too much. It's too much. And knowing that I was doing 2 retrievals, you know, and being older, you're more likely to do more than 1 retrieval. Are you going to biopsy both cycles? That money starts to add up. You know what I'm saying? It starts to add up and add up quick. Merry Christmas, JB. Welcome, welcome. So if, you know, and when I thought of it, I said 2 retrievals, $4,400 is $8,800 if I do PGT both cycles. I can't spend that kind of money. I'd rather just transfer. Yeah, we both do the genetic test and I came back all clear. Hubby has a gene that causes anemia or something. I would have to get the paperwork out to see. Oh, maybe he's a carrier for sickle cell. That's common for Black folks if he's a carrier for sickle cell. Yeah. Or maybe it's something else. I don't know. It might be something more dangerous, maybe. So check with your insurance, right? Because depending on what he's a carrier of, maybe they'll pay for the biopsy and will make that more beneficial to you. Or maybe you can get a discount on whatever the clinic's charging for the biopsy, you know, so that you could do PGT-M testing, which is the gene screening for the embryo. You get chromosome with it, but the gene screening. So PGT-M, pardon me, or what people do when they're trying to eliminate a certain gene. So they want to make sure the embryo doesn't have a gene before they transfer it. My coworker is trying to do that. Cost of testing forced me to bow out of PGT. I'll have to place my in God's hands. Exactly. And the reality is, if I were doing this naturally, I would have no control over the chromosomes of the embryos, right? I would have no control. I have no control over knowing which ones are the best ones to put back. I get what I get, right? If I were doing this naturally. So in my mind, it's like, you know, we'll leave it with God, you know, at this point. You know, I cannot justify spending that kind of money, you know, knowing that I have a little one here and it's just me providing for him. So I just can't. I can't. It would have been great if I would have had embryos left over and I could just like go and transfer an embryo that's already here, but starting completely over was already a lot. You know, the medications, that Omnitrope was $1,200, right? I paid that both cycles. So that's $2,400 on that Omnitrope that the doctor can't even tell me whether it even helped my cycle or not. He has no way of saying whether the Omnitrope did me any good. But I paid $1,200 on the hope and faith that it would, right? So I don't know. Maybe I got the results that I got because I used the Omnitrope. Maybe I got the results that I got because I used the Omnitrope the other way. Who knows? Who knows? So, you know, I'm strategic in where I place the funds. You know what I mean? And like I said, the $4,400 was paid during the first cycle in good faith. It's just a matter of whether I deem it necessary to use it, and you don't get to tell me how to spend my money. Basically, is how I see it. I mean, I accuse them of being conscious about their statistics. The embryologist wanted to assure me that it was not about statistics. Well, if it's not about statistics, then it's definitely about money. Because if I were a cash paying patient, they would have already had tens of thousands of dollars from me, and me saying that I didn't want to pay for $4,400 and this PGT biopsy, they probably wouldn't have batted an eye at that, right? Because they already got tens of other thousands of dollars. But because I'm an insurance paid patient, they're getting pennies on the dollar, right? I don't even think they even gonna make $500 on the egg retrieval bit, right? So the real money is going to be with this biopsy. And I could almost put money on the fact that if I were a cash paying patient, that biopsy would not be $4,400. It would probably be less. So I think I'm being charged $4,400 because I'm an insurance paid patient. It's sad, but true. But that's how I feel about it. I don't know if that's truth. I would have to get with somebody else who's cash paying and see what they're being charged. But that's how I feel about it. Yeah, my baby was perfect graded embryo and I lost him. I don't know if I bother to get PGT again. My insurance pays for it 100%, but I'd rather just transfer the best graded embryo next time. Your insurance pays for PGT, chasing rainbows? Or it pays for just the IVF process? Because the girl that I lost was perfect graded, 5AA, and euploid, and transfer still didn't go. So, and I had another in that bunch, in that cycle, that her embryo was generated. I had a second 5AA that was abnormal in there. And I think the other was like maybe a 4BB or something like that. That was abnormal. So again, I had nice high quality embryos, but only one was normal, right? And that was 4 years ago. But I have no reason to expect that's going to be better now. If anything, it gets worse. It doesn't get better. So it's not worth it for me to spend the money. I have the history. I know what I'm doing, and I know why. I'm going to whoop your team. This was not yours. This was a gift for somebody else. I told you this. Oh my gosh. He has opened a gift for another little baby, took it completely out of the packaging, out of the gift wrap. Get down. Get over here and sit down right now. I don't even want to see your face. This was not yours. What did I say? What did I say? I said it was for Nathan. It's not yours. And guess what? You're not going to get it, and you're not going to get to play with it. I already told you it wasn't for you. Have a seat and stop being dramatic. Stop being dramatic. You think you're so slick. You think you're so slick. And you want to come over here and show me in my face. Goodbye. Goodbye. Find somewhere to be. You got other toys to play with. You better find something else to play with. Fingers out of your mouth. Sorry, y'all. Find somewhere to be. I'm not going to coddle bad behavior. No, sir. No, sir. What did I say? What did I say? Are you done? Are you done being dramatic, though? Are you done? No, mommy's upset with you. Are you done being dramatic? Yeah. Okay, so you have a seat and be quiet. But you're not going to play with this toy. Ever. Have a seat. I need you. Why are you crying? Why are you crying? Because I need to send you to timeout. You want to go to timeout?
No.
Because that's where you need to be. You know you were not to touch that.
No, touch the.
No, you were not to touch it.
No, calm down.
No, you calm down. You don't tell me to calm down. You calm down. You not being calm is what got you in this mess. You better find your other toys and go play with them.
No.
Because I'm very upset with you right now.
No, I don't want it.
Oh, well, you don't want those toys, that's fine.
I want to clean up.
Yeah, go clean up. Yeah, do that. Go clean up. Insurance pays for PGT 100%. Wow. What insurance is that, Chasing Rainbows? I gotta know because I don't know any insurance. Sorry, had that mommy moment. I cannot believe him. Actually, I can believe him. I can. Right. Now clean up some more. You got all these other toys spread around here.
Okay.
Put them all in the toy box, please. What am I going to do with this boy? Now I got to rewrap this gift. I got to find the box that he ripped up, I'm sure.
This is key. This is key. This is key.
Yes, I thought you were cleaning up, though.
This is key.
So go back to cleaning up, please.
Okay.
Thank you. Anyway, this is giving me a headache just talking about it because it makes me so mad. But yeah, Chasing Rainbows, that's great if they'll pay for it. I mean, I guess the decision you have to make, since insurance will pay for PGT, is whether you want to risk not having embryos, right, to test, because your RE is not going to transfer embryos that are deemed abnormal. So it might save you some heartache to go ahead and have it tested if it doesn't cost you anything.
Good job. Good job. Good job, everyone.
I know, JB. The problem is it was in a package. It was a completely unopened gift that was already wrapped. He saw a wrapped gift and he unwrapped it and he took it out of the packaging and decided to play with it. He had no idea what was in there. He just knew it was a gift. So I'm upset with him because I had told him over and over and over that that was not for him. The gift was actually with a teddy bear that is exposed, that I have said that's for Nathan. That's for Nathan. So it was literally in a bag with the teddy bear. So he knows it wasn't for him. We had the conversation over and over and over again. He's just being extra because I'm on the phone with him. What's wrong with your teeth? What's wrong with your teeth? Let me see your teeth, since something's wrong with them. I don't see it. I don't see. Let me see. I don't see anything wrong with your teeth. What's wrong?
Doctor.
Nothing's bleeding.
Doctor's owner.
You want to go to the doctor?
Go to doctor.
Well, for your teeth, the doctor is called a dentist. You want to go to the dentist?
Don't you finish?
Dentist. Dentist. Anyway. So.
Oh no!
Yeah.
My bag in my chest.
So anyway,
no,
that was day 3. So now let me come on, sir. Let me show you. I don't know why this just went blurry. It's not blurry here, but it was blurry for me, which makes me think it's blurry for you. I don't know. There's something weird about it. But all right. So we've been on here for an hour. Let me get to day 5 embryo. So I did get a report on day 5. I was not expecting a report. Do not come back here. Do not come back here.
That's Nathan's train.
No, it's Nathan's train. That's right. And you should have never opened it. So you have a seat over here. You don't get to play with it.
No.
No,
No.
you do not get to play with it. Get down. So, yeah. So when I got the report on day 5, it made me think that I didn't have 3 embryos, because otherwise I wouldn't have got a report at all. So let's see here.
I love you. I love you. I love you.
Okay, back up. So of my, have a seat, sir. Have a seat. So of the 5 embryos, all right. Let me see. Can I share
I
both?
know. I don't know what those trees.
Oh, I can only share both.
I don't know what
So
tree.
here's one.
But I can't have the tree.
Well, I guess I can switch. You guys can still see it. All right. So here, can you guys see this? No, I'm not sharing it. All right, hold on. Give me a second. There we go. Now you can see. Which one am I sharing? This one. Yeah, okay. All right. So here's the one that stopped growing after 2 cells. At day 5, I had a 2 cell, I think an 8 cell, a 10 cell, and then I had a marula and early blastocyst, right? So here's the 2 cell. This one. Oh, look, I can show both. Okay, good. All right, so here's the 2 cell. I think this one might be the 8 cell, but this kind of looks like that one that I said wasn't looking so hot to begin with. And then this one, I believe, is the 10 cell. And then this one is the early blast, because you can kind of see the trifectoderm forming here, the inner cell mass, and then a little bit of expansion here. And then this one is kind of still more marula. This is my untrained eye. I don't know. Somebody might come behind me and say something completely different. I don't know. But this is just my untrained eye, y'all. Just my untrained eye. But basically, she had come back with the day 5 update, and let me read her email. And her email said, "Hi, Tamika. See attached pictures of your day 5 embryos. You have 1 early blastocyst, 1 marula stage before the blastocyst, and 1 embryo, each at 10 cell, 8 cell, and 2 cell stage. We will give you an update tomorrow on day 6. We want to confirm that if you only have 2 blastocysts tomorrow, we will not proceed with biopsy, but rather we're freezing only with no biopsy." This would now be the 4th time that they have asked me to confirm that I do not want a biopsy if I have less than 3. So my response to that was, thank you. That is correct. If only 2, no biopsy. So the next day, I get a phone call. Now, this is where it gets a little comical, because no, get over here. You've done enough. You've done enough. No. We are not playing with this train. Give it up. You will not be playing with this train. It is not yours. It is not your toy to play with. No, sir. And I need you to stop screaming in my ear. I need you to stop screaming in my ear. I said no. Go over there. Please go over there. I don't want you screaming in my ear. If you're going to scream, I need you to go over there.
No.
Then stop screaming in my ear. You know why you cannot play with that train. I'm not going to keep repeating myself. So anyway, that was the 4th time I confirmed that I didn't want the biopsy. So the next morning, I get a phone call. I didn't even hear the phone ring. I was in the shower. So according to my call log, apparently baby G either answered the phone and they hung up, or he hung up on them, one or the other. And then baby G attempted to call them back twice. And then they called me back, and baby G answered the call and simply just left the phone on speaker at that, on the bed. When I got out the shower, I heard the doctor talking in the background, I think to his cell phone, trying to leave me a text message, which he stated in the text message. I didn't see the text message until after I got off the call with them, because I did manage to answer the call and get their attention. No, get down.
Why not?
Because it's not yours and you weren't even supposed to open it.
That's
So the text says, "Good morning, trying to reach you. You do have 2 beautiful blastocyst embryos that meet criteria to biopsy. Your instructions are to only biopsy if you have 3. We will honor that unless I hear otherwise in the next 30 minutes. Remember, get off my chair. You think it's okay to kick me in the back?
No, stop what
Get down. Get down now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Get down. Have a seat, little boy. Remember, you are best served by ensuring that you have normal embryos. The other option is also to call the other 3 and biopsy them as well for a total of 5 embryos that are biopsied, or we could just go ahead and freeze these 2 as per your stated plan with the embryologist. Please let me know within the 30 minutes, otherwise we'll proceed forward with you." Well, like I said, he was leaving this message when I came out of the shower. So I come to the phone and he says, "Oh, you have 2 beautiful, highly graded embryos. And we want you to have the best chance. And so you have 3 options. We can just freeze them. We can biopsy or freeze them. We can thaw your other embryos." And I said, And that's when he stopped. He didn't even finish the sentence. We already know that's not a good idea. I'm 42 years old. Thawing my previous cycle embryos means my embryos would need to survive the thaw the first time, survive being biopsied, survive being frozen a second time, and then for transfer, if they are normal, survive being thawed a second time. Okay? It's not your train. And I said no. So get down. Get down. It's for Nathan. And you should have never touched it. Get down. Get down, sir. I asked you to get down and stop screaming in my ear. You want to scream, you go over there and scream. But you're not going to keep screaming in my ear. So, you're about to lose your tag because you're misbehaving.
Okay, Mommy. What am I talk with?
You're going to find some act right. So anyway, so he didn't even finish the sentence. He and I both know that's not a great idea. Not to mention, I've already talked about that option with the head embryologist during the first cycle, because he was like, well, if you don't have enough in the next cycle, I mean, you would have to thaw these, which he said he didn't recommend, and I wasn't willing to take that risk either. So we both agreed that thawing the embryos from the previous cycle was not the best thing to do. So I don't even know why he even brought that up as an option, because as an RE, he already knows at 42, thawing those embryos are not the best idea, right? So cut that out, right? I don't even know why you're trying to bring that up. You're only bringing that up because it sounds like you're more interested in my $4,400 than you are in making sure I have the best chance. Again, during my first cycle, when I was refusing to do PGT testing then, the embryologist says, I will have a talk with the owner and I will ask him if he's willing, since you're doing a back-to-back retrievals, if he's willing to give you a twofer for the same $4,400 that I get to biopsy these 3 and then whatever comes out of the next cycle. The owner, Dr. Shimon, said no. Completely understandable. Again, insurance paid patient. He's not getting that much money off of me from a retrieval. Why would he want to discount the biopsy price for me? That makes sense. Makes sense why he said no. But that was your opportunity to get the 4,400 then. This is not your opportunity to get the 4,400. I said I needed 3. I've said that from day one. I don't have 3. I have 2. I had 3 last cycle. I still didn't do it. But here we are with just 2. I don't care how beautiful they are. Not gonna do it. So anyway, back to the phone call. He says, oh, you have, these 3 options. I said, and then he goes, so of the 2 options, freezing or biopsy and freezing, I said, you said that they were highly graded. What are the grades? Well, I already told you they're highly graded. They're absolutely beautiful. That's all fine and good, doc, but I asked for the grades. And then he goes, oh. There were 6A and a 4BB. I said, oh, those are really, really nice. So, and I said, but yeah, still, it's not good enough. Not good enough. I need 3. And so I'm just going to freeze them. That entire room went silent for about a good minute or 2. I could feel the angst, right, on all of their minds, their faces, or whatever, because I refuse to do this biopsy. And I'm just like, it's not worth it to me. They're nicely graded, but given my history, perfect grades, 6AA can't get any more perfect than that. Another 4AB, also sounding great, baby G. These are all of these embryos are day 6 embryos, right? The only thing that would make these better if it happened on day 5, but these are all day 6 embryos. Keep in mind, baby G was a day 6 4BB. So these 2 embryos are better graded than he was. But the only difference is he was PGT tested, euploid. He was also best graded in his group of embryos that I sent for PGT testing. And perfectly graded embryos do not make euploid embryos, right? So yes, they're beautiful. Yes, they're perfectly graded, but it doesn't mean that they're euploid. I know that, right? Which is why he still wants to test them, but not at $4,400 for the biopsy. No, sir, I'm not doing it. And the reality about thawing my other embryos is more money, right? You want to give that to me as an option to thaw the other embryos. The way this clinic has been nickel and diming me, there probably would be a charge to thaw them. They charged me $300 to thaw the sperm. So why wouldn't they charge me some money to thaw these embryos, right? Then there's the biopsy, which would be included in this $4,400. Then they have to be refrozen, which is probably another $1,000. I think my insurance pays for the cryopreservation. When I did this 4 years ago, my United Healthcare did not pay for cryopreservation, and I had to pay $1,000 for the embryos to be frozen. So, it's just more money for them to get. So, no, no, not doing it, right? So, that was that. So, next thing I got was let me see. Is this the right one? Nope, I got the wrong window. Hold on. Let's see here. Oh no, this was those 2. Okay, let me see. Here, there we go. So here are the 2. This one is the 6AA. It's 6 because it's completely hatched, right? It's completely hatched and it's fully expanded. Here's the inner cell mass. This is the part that becomes the baby. Most of this is fluid in here. This is all trophectoderm and whatnot. That's all what becomes the placenta. This other one here is hatching. It was upgraded to a 4AA. Remember, he said on the phone it was a 4AB. it was upgraded to a 4AA by the time that they froze it. So all this fluid here, intercell mass is still kind of hanging out over here. All this trophectoderm, which becomes the placenta. So 4AA because it's still hatching. And also the zona pellucida is not that thin. A thin zona pellucida I think would be a 5, but then 6 is completely hatched. So anyway, that's what I ended up with. So out of this cycle, a 6AA, a 4AA, which are my top graded overall. Out of the last cycle, like I said, I had a 4AB, a 3BC, and a 2BC, all 6-day embryos. Day 6 embryos don't bother me. Like I said, baby G is a day 6 embryo. 3 of these embryos are better graded than baby G. The other 2 are lower grades than he was. I've had people tell me that they are pregnant or have had successful pregnancies with their 3BC embryos. So that 3BC still has a shot as well, provided it's normal, right? But in my history, what I really have to work with is probably that 6AA from this cycle and the 4AB from previous cycle as being the normal embryos, if they are even normal. So in my mind, those would be the first 2 embryos that I would try with. And then we work our way down from there. But the expectation for me at that point is that those embryos are not normal. But if I didn't get pregnant within those first 2, I probably would just give it a try, just to give it the old college try, because you just never know. And again, I'm not sure how Omnitrope would have affected the results. So maybe there is more than one normal in the bunch. Who knows? But all I can do is try, right? All I can do is try. So that's where we are. This nice 4AA and this nice 6AA. And that is how the cycle ended. No PGT testing. Baby J, turn this tablet down. It's too loud. It's too loud, sir. Turn it down. Turn it down, or I'm going to turn it off. Go get it. So yeah, there we have it. There we have it. Questions, comments, interesting things. That's the end of IVF 4. I am not looking to do a transfer until probably March-ish. I transferred baby G on February 7th. I'm trying to avoid him and the next baby having birthdays that are too close together. So I'm not looking to do a transfer until probably at least March-ish. Also, to add, my RE seems to think my glucose is out of control. So for whatever reason, he's like, let's make sure your glucose is under control, blah, 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 blah. Stop. I need you to move over here, away from these cords. 1, 2, 3. I'm about to take your tablet. 4. Stop biting my pants. 5. No more tablets. Listen.
No, my tablet.
You're not using your listening ears.
No, my tablet.
So you don't use the tablet. No, it's mommy's tablet. Okay. Dramatic. Where are your listening ears? You don't want to show me your listening ears? No tablet. I'm done. I'm done. I'm done talking to you, sir. I'm done. I'm showing off. That looks like a fake cry. It sounds like a fake cry too. Have a seat. Have a seat. So Heather, I'm not sure. What I do know, it is about the amount. And it probably has to do with the type of supplement and how soluble it is and how many IUs that you take and how often you take them. So if you have low vitamin D, there is a 50,000 IU once a week of vitamin D that can be prescribed. And I will tell you that that 50,000 IU was able to get me from 20 to, I believe, 54 or something like that within a month, right? So do not touch. No, because you were not using your listening ear. Get off of me. So all I can say is that we can bring it up to snuff in a month, but it takes a lot of IUs to get it up. So I take a 5,000 IU vitamin D. The last time my endocrinologist, who manages my insulin resistance, he tests my vitamin D. I want to say every 6 months or so. So he had throw something else. Throw something else. You could be mad. You're not going to throw stuff around my house. Have a seat. You're about to find yourself in timeout, young man. Because you are not going to throw things around my house. So I hope that helps, Heather. I hope that helps. Yeah, because I don't know how long it takes. But if you can get the doctor to prescribe you that 50,000 one, you can get up to snuff in a month, in less than a month. I know normal is 30. For pregnancy, they like to see you somewhere between 40 and 50. There was a such thing as too much vitamin D, pardon me, as well. So, you know, it is something, you know, you want to watch. Yes, actions and reactions. So, always teaching the child something. I'm trying my best. Hey, Tanika, Merry Christmas. Merry belated Christmas. I guess that's the thing. Welcome, welcome. I just got finished talking about all the IVF4 stuff. So I am done with the IVF4 stuff. Okay. The other half of this live, and we're already an hour and almost 40 minutes in. The other half of this live is the reaction to Arlett's video. Arlett, I don't even know if you're still in here, Arlett. If you're in here, maybe listening in the background. So Arlett, during her Vlogmas, called me out in her video. She did a video about bringing a baby home as a single mom by choice on the request of Simply Tanika. So great timing, Tanika. Great timing. So she asked me to basically give my experience on bringing a baby home as a single mom. So, okay, I will have to say my experience as a single mom started before I brought the baby home. It actually started while I was pregnant. And I will have to say the first like real single mom by choice bit that I experienced probably would have been at about 6 weeks and 1 day when I developed my subchorionic hematoma. Jadon, you come in here where I can see you. I don't want you in the kitchen. No, come in here and close the gate, please. And you stay in here where mommy can see. Stay in here where mommy can see you. Because now I think you're trying to act a fool. And when I go in that kitchen and find out what you were in there messing with, it's going to be a bad day for you. Excuse me? Do not touch. Do not touch. It's Nathan's. Exactly. Get over here. Get over here. Get over here now. Yes, it's Nathan's teddy bear. You've already gotten in enough trouble today, sir. Okay. Yes. That's okay, Tamikia. You can just replay from the beginning because I just kind of went over IVF for egg retrieval and those results, and so we just kind of finished getting through that. So this part, bring home a baby. So 6 weeks 1 day I developed a subchorionic hematoma. How did I know? Well, bleeding. Not so much bleeding, but actually dropping very large clots. Fortunately, at the time that I had gotten pregnant, a lot of women who were on Instagram and in the Facebook groups were experiencing subchorionic hematomas. And I had, kind of gone through the motions with Sandra Wiley when she went through her subchorionic hematoma the previous year with pebbles. So fortunately, I was aware that this was something. So when I saw the bleeding or the large clots, I did not automatically assume miscarriage, right? I maintained calmness by saying it's likely a subchorionic hematoma. My baby could very well be fine despite all the bleeding and the large clot. So I would have to say that's part of the first single mom by choice experience because I was home, I was alone. There was no one to take me to the hospital but myself. There were no friends to call who lived locally. I didn't have anybody really to call. There were no family. My niece was an hour away in Titusville. And so there was no waiting for somebody to like come with me to the hospital. No, you were on restriction from the tablet because you were not using your listening ears. So no tablets. Let me put this tablet up so he can stop fighting me. Excuse me. Excuse me, sir. No. This glass is dropped here. So please move. There's glass on the floor. I need you to move. No. Move, please. Before you hurt yourself. Move. No. I don't have energy right now. Seriously. Not right now. Glass on the floor. I'm trying to keep us both from getting talking to. We're gonna stop disrespecting me. Come here. Come here. Come here. Since you want to overtalk me. Come here. Since you want to overtalk me. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. You want to go to some house? I didn't think so. I'm not playing any games with him. All right, y'all. Sorry about that. I went to put the tablet up, a piece of glass fell and broke. I had to clean that up because Lord only knows people would be getting into it. Okay. It's still frozen. All right, let me see if I can fix this. What's going on? Screens frozen. You guys can still hear me. I'm here. Only audio. Hush. Okay, let me see. It seems to be fine where I'm getting video, but I think my studio here is bugging out. So let me try something. Am I back? Don't touch it. Not back. No, you're definitely not going to ride your scooter. No. All right, let me see what's going on, guys. All right. Black screen. I don't know what's happening. I don't know why it's black. Give me a second to figure it out. Let's see. Okay, here. Okay, that part's working. All right, it looks like my camera is just not doing what it should be. Let me see. There we go. There we go. Hush. Get your fingers out of your mouth and hush. And it's blurry. I don't know why it's so blurry. Give me a second here. Oh my God. I got 1,000,001 things open. Close a few things on here. And that should help. Apparently I got 1,000,001 things open on this phone. All right. Still blurry. And frozen again. Wait, not frozen, but blurry. Okay. Am I blurry for y'all? It's looking blurry. I know I'm back, but it's looking blurry to me. It shouldn't be blurry. I don't know why it's such a bad picture. Yeah, it's just a really, really bad picture. Thing I could think is this phone, like my signal or something, or the Wi-Fi. Let me see if I jump off of. Oh, I'm not on Wi-Fi at all. Oh God. Maybe it'll get. Coming back. All right, that's better. How did I get off of Wi-Fi? All right. Okay. All right. And we're back. So looks like I'm back. All right. Yay. All right. Beautiful. So I was like, why did it go blurry? Because apparently I wasn't on Wi-Fi on that phone for some stupid reason. All right, so let's get to it. So yes, so I had to take myself. So subchorionic hematoma, was bleeding, had to shower, check myself, be in the hospital by myself, be told by the hospital that one, my cervix was open, and that's usually a bad thing, right? When you're bleeding. Jadon, come here. Get in here. You stay where I can see you. Okay. You stay where I can see you. You don't have nothing to use your earphones because mommy took your tablet. So you stay in here where I can see you. So they told me my cervix was open, which wasn't actually the case, but they didn't have an OB on staff. I didn't realize this hospital that I went to is the closest hospital to me. I didn't realize they didn't have like labor and deliveries, which is why they didn't have an OB on staff. It's a huge hospital, but I don't know, for whatever reason, they didn't have an OB on staff. So basically, I'm getting the regular nurses who do not specialize. No one who specializes in GYN are basically giving me information at this point. So anyway, I ended up going to ultrasound where they did both an abdominal and a transvaginal. My baby was there and fine. The next day I did see my RE who did confirm that my cervix was indeed closed. And that then told me that I had a 50% chance of my baby even making it. Put me on bed rest for the next 4 weeks. The subchorionic hematoma did resolve itself. So by the time I was about 10 weeks and went to see the maternal fetal medicine, and had my appointment there, the SCH or subchorionic hematoma was no longer visible on ultrasound. So basically I had to go through all of that by myself. Then at about around 9 weeks after I was off of bed rest, a tree fell on my house. So I didn't deal with all of that. No partner around to help me in with those shenanigans. And let me see, how far along was I when I had the SCH? I had brown spotting at 5 weeks, 6 days. The red spot, the bleeding started 6 weeks, 1 day. So yeah. So I had to go through that by myself. So as a single mom by choice, with not a lot of support around me, kind of hard to go through that without somebody to physically hold your hand. You know what I mean? So that was tough. But made it through that. Then, like I said, the tree fell on the house, the neighbor's tree. Had to deal with those shenanigans. Regular stuff that you have to do, car repair, whatever. I'm not that far along. It's not like I was disabled or anything, but I was pretty much coming off of the SCH. So needed to take it easy. The stress of a tree laying on my house was not fun, right? I want to say there were other things that went on, but I don't really remember them. I guess they weren't that significant. But I would have to say the other thing about being a single mom by choice and that was, and knowing that I was going to have a scheduled C-section, who was going to be in the operating room with me, right? That came up. And yeah, my niece was here. She would have had to have somebody watch her daughter, but also her energy is not the kind of energy you want in the operating room. So she was not an option as far as having somebody in the operating room. I did have a little bit of a conniption about paying a doula to basically stand in an operating room with me. $850 because that was the going rate for all the doulas in this area anyway. And it seems like a lot of money to have somebody stand next to you in the operating room and simply take pictures. But I am glad that I made that choice to go with the doula. She was awesome. I did have a chance to deliver vaginally, but only if I went into labor naturally. The RE was not willing to induce me in any way because I had a previous myomectomy that was a fibroid removal surgery. And even though the myomectomy, or I should say my incisions for the fibroid removal were not in places that mandated me to have a C-section, he didn't want to push the envelope with Pitocin or anything like that. So induction was completely out of the picture for me. I had to go into labor on my own, naturally. Now, this being my first child, I wasn't likely going to do that. The first kid typically comes later before it'll come earlier, depending on your situation. So I wasn't really at risk of going into labor prior to 38 weeks. And he wasn't going to let me go much further than 38 weeks. So it had to happen by 38 weeks. He did give me permission to have my membrane swept, but I didn't even dilate enough to have my membrane swept in order to help naturally induce labor. So that ended up just being out, right? And so knowing that I was going into a scheduled C-section, it's like, now who's in the hospital with me while I have that? Because I wanted support in the operating room. You know, I just didn't want to be there laying by myself to give birth. And I'm glad I had the doula for that. Yeah, it's good to know about the doula I'm interviewing. The doula next week. Yeah. So, I mean, it was the same price. I mean, I don't know. My situation with delivery wasn't a horror story, but I had some issues in recovery with them trying to get what they thought was a blood pressure issue. Really was just the machine reading me bad. So she did pull like a 10-hour day, right? So she earned her money, that's for sure. She ended up being with me for 10 hours, even though she didn't have to do a whole lot of work. But she said all the right things after baby G was pulled out. She took amazing pictures. I was in the operating room because they used my fibroid surgery incision. So they were very careful in sewing me back up. Since I had a vertical incision for that surgery, so I had the vertical incision for the birth. And since they used that incision and they were basically revising it, I was in the operating room an additional 3 hours after the baby was born. Didn't expect it to take that long, but it did. And they sent the baby to recovery. I sent her with the baby to recovery. So it was nice having somebody to be with the baby during that time when I couldn't be there. So, you know, there was that. I'm I'm getting there, Tamikia. I'm getting there. So the next thing that probably stood out to me as a single mom by choice would be my hospital stay. No one was there, right? Nobody was in the hospital with me, right? So I got up to my room. The doula's job was done. She handed me the band that was around her wrist that allowed her to be back in recovery with me and be by the baby. And then she went home, right? There's nobody stayed over with me. I was in the hospital 4 days. Again, blood pressure, what they thought were blood pressure issues, just the machine reading me wrong. I had to stay an extra day in the hospital, but I was there completely by myself. I had one visitor that was my niece and her daughter. They visited me once, I want to say the day before I came home for like a couple hours. Other than that, it was just me and the baby. Now, if you think that sounds lonely, it was not really lonely for me. I got that time to bond with my baby, to be with my baby, to not have to share him, not have somebody else hold him. So to me, it was great. I like my quiet time. I think that's just my personality. I didn't even turn the TV on the entire time I was there. My niece came. She was like, "You don't even have the TV on. Why don't you turn on the TV?" And I'm like, "Because I don't need the TV." Right. So, you know, I don't know. It bothered her that I didn't have the TV on. It didn't bother me. So it felt great for me to be there. I didn't mind that no one was in the hospital with me during that time. The nurses were awesome as far as like the call button and whatnot. And actually, the nurses, when they came in, they were like, I like coming in. Your room is nice and quiet in here. So, as opposed to, I guess, a bunch of people talking and other conversation or whatever you get when there are people staying with you and stuff. So, it was nice for me. It might not be nice for you. I think that's a personality thing. But that is something that I noticed as a single mom by choice. Like, there was nobody in the hospital with me. Coming home from the hospital, who's going to bring you home from the hospital? You're not supposed to drive, right? Especially after a C-section. While I was up and walking, and I totally could have driven myself home, that's not what they want. I did have my niece on schedule to do that. She was, bless her, rest in peace, Ashley, but she's not the most reliable person. So the day of, she kind of flaked out, and I had to get another friend of mine to come and pick us up from the hospital. So that was just stressful. But also another thing about being a single mom by choice, you don't have that partner to do these things for you. You don't have the extra set of hands, the extra driver, the extra feet, the extra back, that extra person to get up and bring you stuff so you don't have to get up yourself. So all of that was very evident through through delivery, my hospital stay, and coming home from the hospital. So these are situations where you have to rely on somebody. And I just didn't have a whole lot of people to rely on. I am grateful for the people who did come through for me. But yeah, so the experience of being a single mom by choice starts with all of that, the emergency situations, and then the situations where you have to have somebody, all of that is there. And I mean, even doing IVF without a partner, like when you go for your egg retrieval, somebody has to be there to take you home. And so doing these last 2 retrievals, it was kind of tough trying to find, somebody to be there to bring me home, especially navigating having a little one that can't be with you. You know what I mean? Don't touch it. So that all, is kind of triggering in a way as a single mom by choice. Come over here with all these cords, please, and thank you. Get over here. So now being home. Aiden, stop! Better not hit me again. Do not hit. I'm not playing. I'm not playing. I'm not playing any games with you. Cut it out. Have a seat. That has been a thought for me. Who will come to delivery with me, since my family is not aware of my journey, except for one sister who is service station. Tamika, I wanted hospital support and home support. Yep. Yeah, I think it depends on the mama, because I wanted the mom there, and she's been deceased for a long time, and to my insecurity. I'm sorry to hear about your mom today. My sister suggested that I hush. Mommy cannot hear, and you get 10 to people, so you need to hush. Hush, sir. Are you done? Are you done? I need you to be done. Thank you. My sister suggested that I deliver in Ohio, but I think afterwards having a newborn outside of the comfort of my own home after delivery might be a lot. Yeah, I mean, you know, if you really need, like, everybody can't afford a doula, right? And like I said, my doula was great. She said all the right things, right, as the baby was being born, and I was like crying hysterically, as I guess most women cry when they give birth. But she just said all the right things. She worked really hard. You got here, you did it. He's finally here. He's perfect. This is that and the other. And it's like everything you wanted to hear. I wasn't going to get that from my niece. I'm not sure that I would get that from a regular, family person who just wasn't there with me during the journey. I mean, the doula wasn't there with me during the journey, but she understood the steps that I had to take. And I think having someone who understands the gravity of what you've done to get to that point is important, as far as having somebody there with you and to be able to say those right things. Jaden, get in here where I can see you. I need to be able to see you. You stay where mommy can see you. So that's important. You know, you don't even realize how important it is until it happens for you. And it was really important to hear what she said and at that point in time, because, you know, 2 years trying to get pregnant with him, 9 months trying to stay pregnant with him, especially after the subchorionic hematoma, and being told I only had a 50-50 chance of being able to carry him. I guess in a way, you know, I worked up until the very last day. I mean, I delivered on a Monday. I was working Sunday, early Monday morning. I worked up to literally the very last minute, and I got no sleep the night before because I was trying to, you know, do the last minute cleaning around the house, and the house still wasn't where exactly I wanted it to be because I worked up to the last minute. And, you know, there was drama, you know, with my friend who's not my friend anymore. If you've been following my journey long enough, there was drama, you know, with, you know, family in general throughout the pregnancy. You know, it was just a lot. And I think a part of me was just on autopilot and just wanted to get there. And I didn't even realize the gravity of all I had been through, all I had endured. And I'm getting a little emotional about it now, and all that I had persevered to get to that point, to bring him earthside. And everything she had to say about, you know, reminded me about how hard I worked, how I persevered, and how I deserved it. Could not have been any more perfect. So I am so incredibly grateful for her, even though I had to pay her $850, but it was worth every penny, to have that experience in the operating room. So it's important. Who you choose to support you in that time is very important. Do not take that decision lightly, especially since it's not like a partner, right? If you're going to be a single mom by choice, be sure it's somebody who truly understands the journey that you have taken to get to that point, because it really does matter in those moments who's there, and what they say and how they behave and how they make you feel during that time. You don't need drama. You don't need anybody that's going to stress you out. I don't care who they are, family or not. If the person's going to stress you out, don't have them around. That ain't the time, you know. This is just not the time. So, you know, it's important, right? It's important. And being able to come home to the environment that you have nested to nurture your baby is also important. So like I said, my friend was able to come through in the clutch, brought me home. However, my car was breaking down. She drove my car. My transmission was going on the way home from the hospital. Didn't have any trouble with my transmission going to the hospital or up to that point. But we stopped at a light, and the transmission, she hit the gas to go, and the car was not going. Basically, I suggested that she shift into like neutral or into park and then back into drive, and that got it going again. But clearly I had to get my transmission looked at. My baby had appointments. So I want to say she dropped me off. That's I was about 4 days postpartum with a C-section. I think I came home. I delivered on Monday. I think I went out on Saturday to go to Firestone to see about my transmission. They could not help me. And because it was transmission, they're not allowed to do transmissions. They suggested I go to AMCO. gave me a card. I called up AMCO. Of course, they weren't open on Sunday. So that next Monday, I was back out of the house with my baby in tow. Okay. That many days postpartum at the AMCO trying to get my car fixed. This was an experience that if I had a partner or at least a family member that could take care of this for me, could have gotten this done instead of me out here, or at least been there with me to carry the carrier that I shouldn't have been carrying, this many days postpartum, or to drive, or whatever the case may be. I was out there by myself, and so it's kind of like, you don't think about it, when like I've been independent on my own, partnerless for so long. You just do what you got to do. And here I am in new mom mode going, I need a vehicle I can ride around in. I need to get this together one way or the other. I got to get my vehicle figured out. I can't be broken down on the side of the road with my new baby, trying to get him to his first appointment or what have you. So I was trying to get this worked out. And so all of that happened like right straight home from delivery with nobody to help me, reliably. Anyway, Jadon, come here where mommy can see you. You come in here where mommy can see you. So again, another moment where being a single mom by choice was very clear. It was very clear I was doing it by myself at that point. So tough, right? Tough. And I had and Tanika, to answer your question, when I hired the doula, I did hire her with a package that included I ended up getting 42 hours of postpartum doula hours for her to come by. But because I was out and about trying to, I didn't one of the things you don't realize is you think you're going to bring your baby home and then you're not going to go anywhere for the next 6 weeks. That's not the case. It's they tell you in the hospital that you have to have your baby's first appointment before you leave the hospital, and it needs to be within a week of the baby being born. So it's I come home and then 2 days later I got to take him out to his first appointment, and somebody's got to drive you there. They ain't gonna come get the baby. They're not coming to the house to evaluate the baby. So it's you leave the house quite a bit with a newborn, and especially if the newborn is maybe not gaining weight as much as they expect, then you're coming every week. You're out of the house for something, so I didn't expect to be so out and about with the newborn and the stuff he needed. And then the fact that I was trying to get my car dealt with just added to that. And so I was so busy between his appointments and trying to get my car together, Ubering, lifting, basically not Ubering, but lifting everywhere because my car was in the shop for, I think, 2 weeks, getting the transmission rebuilt. I had to have the transmission completely rebuilt, not cheap. There was no warranty. My car was old. I had to pay that money. There was nobody there to pay that. And then there was nobody with a vehicle to take me to all of his appointments. And then I had appointments, after. And so I just, that's one thing I didn't expect. I didn't expect to be so busy out and about with the newborn for the things that you have to do postpartum. And there was nobody to help with that. It was just me by myself. And because I was just trying to get it done, I wasn't even thinking about the doula. I probably could have called the doula in for the stuff I was trying to do for myself. I probably could have called her in to watch the baby instead of taking the baby with me. But who thinks I wasn't thinking about that? And before I knew it, I was 2-3 weeks without calling the doula. And at that point, I didn't feel like I needed her anymore, So I still have, I think she came over and she did some stuff. I was just looking for adult company and some conversation. She was like, let me get you some water. You're breastfeeding. Let me fill your water cup up. I washed a little bit of dishes that was in here and, and all of that. And I prepped myself to really not do anything for the first 2 weeks. I had meals that I could just either just plop right in the oven or put in the microwave, so I didn't have to stand and cook, knowing that I had the C-section. Because somebody asked that question in here. Let me get over here. Let me see. Yes, deliver where you're most comfortable. Have somebody come to you if you can. I have my SHG on January 19th. SHG. That's the water sign. Tanya. I'm sorry, I'm super late on the comments. OMG, I do remember your friend. Life will take you through things. Yes. Yes. Vicky, when is the best time in your pregnancy to get a doula? I was actually pretty late in securing my doula. The thing about it is the doulas can get really busy. And once they thank you, I'll take this water, thank you. Once they get so many pregnant women that are due around a certain time, they will stop taking on more women.
No.
Somebody's been in the candy canes because I see you with candy on your chin. That's why you're in that bedroom. Give me this water. Stay in here where I can see you. You should see him. He's got a big piece of candy on his chin right here because he's been stealing candy canes off the tree. Get over here. Because I see you done stole another candy cane. You're just acting a whole fool. So I would say probably, I mean, you can check around to see, especially if there are like companies that have multiple doulas, because sometimes, you know, it might be hard to find like one doula who just works by herself. Usually they'll have backups, because what happens if they have two women, you go in early or something like that, and somebody else went early and it's your time to deliver. Like somebody, if she's already with somebody, she can't be with you. She's got to send the backup, right? So when you interview with the doulas, Tanika, or anybody else, ask about what happens if there's a conflict with another pregnant woman, who that person is going to be. Is there any opportunity to meet with that person as well once you choose them, so you can get used to them in case that's who you get when you start to labor or when you go in, because you just never know. Pregnancy is unpredictable, right? Some women are going to go early, some women are going to go late, and it's kind of like first come, first serve when it comes to the doula you hired, right? So you might be hiring a pair that interchange off each other. And then they may have other doula friends that they call in the case that they're not available for you. So that's something to look into as well. You want to make sure you get a chance to meet everybody, just like, you know, in some cases where you're delivering and the doctors rotate, right? They want you to meet all the doctors in case you don't get your doctor to deliver you. So, yeah. Let's see. Time is the issue. If I'm able to give her advance notice, she would have a hard time getting on the flight. She has kids. She can't come down for a week prior. Yeah, that's tough. If you have like an auntie, like an older auntie who might be retired, is there like maybe an older woman that's kind of like a mom or a grandmom figure? You know, because I'm thinking about, you know, what do I do with my kid if I get pregnant again? You know, who can I fly in to just watch him, you know, while I'm in the hospital? 4 days. You know, where does he go for 4 days while I'm in the hospital? 3 to 4 days while I'm in the hospital. So all of that, you know, when you don't have a partner, you know, then some doula services will provide childcare while you labor, right? They do offer those services as well. I did see that while I was looking around, but they ain't gonna sit with your kid for 3-4 days. You know, they're not gonna do that. So you gotta figure something out. And as a single mom by choice, it's like who do you get? You know, it's tough. I haven't worked that out yet. I'll work it out when I get pregnant again. If I get pregnant again. When I get pregnant again. Universe, work with me when I get pregnant again. So sending prayers for you. It's the beginning of your take home baby. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. Yes. Amen. Let's see. I've been told in the second trimester because they have to book out time before and after your due date with no other delivery conflicts. Yep, that's what I was just talking about. But yeah, like I said, I was worried. When I went, it was so much I was trying to get done with the classes and all of that. I was really late in the doula game. I was probably close to third trimester by the time, close if not already in third trimester when I procured my doula. I can't remember exactly when, but it was pretty late in the game. I maybe had 10 weeks left. Fortunately, they had an opening, so I got lucky. I don't suggest waiting that long. I'm 46 and just disconnected a bit with a childhood friend. I have been through supporting her and her mom's death, and she flipped on me. Lesson: don't have expectations from others. That was my lesson, JB. That was my therapist. She said, your expectations, everybody is not you. You can't expect everybody to be you, react how you would react, do how you would do it. And basically she said I just had too many expectations of what I expected from my friend. But I think, when you're friends for someone that long, you should be able to have some expectation, right? Of something, not just expect them to do nothing. So I think there's a give and take there on the expectations, but yeah, you can't expect people to behave how you would behave. That would be the lesson, right? They're going to behave how they behave, not how you behave, and you got to meet people where they are. It's kind of where it is. Yeah, so excited. January is around the corner. That may be an NYC thing due to large population. No. Yeah, you do gotta watch, especially if they're like a popular doula. Luckily, my pediatrician is walking distance from my home. Yeah, but yes, I think that's different for you though, Tanika, because driving is kind of a thing, right? In New York, right? Not a lot of people have cars and stuff, and so you're either on public transportation, you're taking a taxi, or a Lyft or Uber or something like that. But here in Orlando, you can't get anywhere fast, and it's very difficult. Like public transit is just not great here, not great at all. And not having a car, like this is a city that you need a vehicle in. Unfortunately, you can Lyft it and Uber, but it gets real expensive real fast between the tolls and how far everything is from each other. Like it's you really need a vehicle here in Orlando, and I'm sure there are people here who don't have vehicles and they manage, but it's very difficult, right? So yeah, it was hard, right? And I didn't even think to I probably could have just rented a vehicle, but I felt like I wasn't gonna be out and about that much. Jadon, come here where mommy can see you, because I know you're in there stealing more candy canes, because I see even more around your mouth now. Yeah, I bet. Come here. Don't wipe your face on that.
What's that? What's your song?
No, don't wipe your face. Look at this. You got candy all over your chin because you're stealing candy canes. Here. Go get that candy cane. Go bring it here. Bring it here. Because it's probably all over the bed now. So, it was tough. It was tough. And even not having a car, bring it here. Even not having a car, getting groceries when I needed groceries. No, you had a whole other candy cane in there you haven't even broken into yet. Look at this. Just Steven, no more candy canes. No more. I understand your frustration, but no, sir. No. Just see his blue tongue. You probably can see it because it's kind of partially on him. He's sticking it out. So cut it out. Show everybody your blue tongue. Yeah, stick your tongue up. See how blue it is? Anyway, boy. But yeah, so it's like the grocery store was walking distance, and you know, pushing a stroller. The stroller doesn't hold very much, you know what I mean? So it's like I'm pushing him in a stroller to get to the grocery store, which I had to cross up 6 Lane Street to get to. Stop. Cut it out. 1. Get over here and sit down. Get over here and sit down. You better cut it out, boy. You're about to find it. Do you want to go to timeout? No. I didn't think so. You're headed that way. So yeah, like, and the stroller didn't hold much, you know what I mean? And you know, just trying to get groceries, man, that was tough, you know, without a car. So I did, you know, start doing pickup after that, because I thought, like, you know, the grocery store is a walk, it'll get me up walking, you know, shouldn't be that big of a deal. But it's like when you know, you got to bring heavy stuff back home, and it's hot outside. Well, I guess it was October, it wasn't that hot, you know, it's a little bit cold outside, and you know, it was a bit longer of a walk than I expected. And recovering from a C-section, it was a lot more walking than I expected. So I was pretty sore, you know, after that. And you know, sometimes you forget that you've had a surgery, that you just had a baby, and you're just kind of in get it done mode, and there's nobody to remind you. Come here. Bring that here. Bring that here. Give to mommy before you break it. Thank you.
My ear.
Nothing's wrong with your ear. So cut it out. Nothing's wrong with your ear.
I love to eat, mommy. I don't want to eat oatmeal.
Oh, now you want to eat oatmeal. What did you do with your bowl? Because I don't see it on the table anymore.
No,
what did you do with your bowl? Now you don't want it.
I don't want to eat it.
Okay, well, you'll have to wait. You'll have to wait now.
Pepperoni.
He wants pizza. So anyway, yeah. So I called the doula maybe a couple times. She still owes me probably about 36 hours of postpartum doula time that I paid for and never used. So Tanika, getting back to the task at hand, I didn't use her very much. I was good on the breastfeeding thing. Which is another reason why I wanted the postpartum doula hours, in case I had trouble with that, because they were lactation consultants as well. And not all doulas are lactation consultants, so that's another good thing to ask while you're interviewing, whether they are certified lactation consultants or not. So the doula that I chose were also lactation consultants, so I had that available to me if I needed. They also did classes if I needed it, but I was taking those classes at the hospital, so I didn't really need the classes that they offered. You know, they helped me, you know, work out the birth plan, all of that good stuff. That was part of the package and whatnot. So yeah, basically I was just home by myself. I didn't have any visitors. Nobody came and stayed with me or anything like that. Again, it was nice to just be home with my baby. But again, that's a personality thing. You know, if you prefer to have some help, if you feel nervous. I wasn't nervous, you know, about my baby, about handling my baby, about, you know, what I was gonna, you know, do as a mom. I wasn't nervous about that. It was very interesting though when the lactation people came in the hospital, and like they came in like a group. It was like three or four of them, maybe even 5. They come in the room. It's actually quite intimidating. I don't know if they were training or what, but they came in the room and they were like, oh, like, look how comfortable she is, like holding the baby and whatnot. You're like an old pro. And I was just like, is that a thing? Like, people are nervous about holding their babies? And they're like, yeah, many new moms, like, they're scared. They don't know how to hold the baby. They don't know what to do. They're nervous about, I guess, maybe the baby being so small and delicate and this is that and the other. And I just didn't have any of those nerves at all. I was quite comfortable, with him, and just grateful, just overall grateful. And so, but that just might be, it could be me, it could be my personality. I can't say that everybody happens that way. So, somebody else might need more support than I needed. I didn't get a whole bunch of phone calls. I already didn't have the best relationship with my mom, so it wasn't like I was calling her. Put it back and don't touch it. Close it. Come here. You just doing the most right now. The most. Get down. Get down. Find somewhere to be, sir. Find somewhere to be. Because you're about to get yourself in a whole world of trouble. Messing with my Oculus over here. So you're about to find yourself in a whole world of trouble, sir. I'm so not playing. If messing with this is what you're trying to do. So hold on, I see a question about the lactation team. But let me get to it. Hold on, I have to put the computer down. But I can see the comments on the phone. So hold on, Tanika, I'm getting there. But yeah, so all of that. I mean, I'm saying all of this, but all of this is about being a single mom. Get down. 1, 2, 3. My daredevil over here. Get down. You better calm. Y'all hear her? You better calm down. Woosah, y'all. Woosah. Okay. Where were we? Let's see. Oh, pediatrician. Okay. Vicky says, thanks. Arlett, I agree with several doctor's appointments those first weeks with the with baby sister because nursing issues, making sure she was getting enough and regaining the weight she was. Yeah, I didn't expect. He was slow in regaining his weight. He was discharged before I was discharged from the hospital, but he was slow in regaining his weight, and so it was like another appointment, come back, and it was just like I wasn't expecting all this moving around. That must have been rough while healing from the C-section. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The nurses were saying I was racing them around the floor, walking. Like the walking, I think I had the practice from the fibroid surgery, like just getting up and doing the walking. And I didn't, they weren't making me walk. I wanted to get out of the room, so I was just taking the walks, and walking the floor, once around, twice around, 3 times around, just really making sure I was getting those walks in. But I also went from epidural to Motrin. I didn't go on a narcotic after I came off the epidural from my C-section. And that might have been because of the previous fibroid surgery where maybe I just don't have as much sensation or feeling as maybe a normal person would after a C-section. So all of that plays a role. My pain tolerance, all of that great stuff, all of that plays a role. So I can't say that somebody else would have that same experience that I did because, your pain level plays a lot into all of that. And I didn't have, give it here. I didn't have all the pain. You can have some. You can't have all of it. You're not going to drink the whole water bottle. You know how to drink from a water bottle. Stop doing that because you're putting backwash in the water.
No, this is mine. This is mine. It's
ours. That water's going to turn blue in a minute the way he's like getting backwash. So it's just, it's a lot. And you were just in get her done, and I'm not gonna lie, I was sore. It was a lot more moving around. It was a lot of carrying him in the carrier, and he was pretty much an 8-pound baby. You're not supposed to lift much, after the C-section. I may very well have a hernia behind it. I suspect a hernia. No one's told me I have one, but I suspect a hernia. You know, at this stage of the game, and a lot of that may have been from that. So, you know, you're just in get it done mode, especially if you're used to just doing things on your own and not having a lot of assistance, right? That mode just kicked in. It didn't matter that I just had a baby, right? It didn't matter, you know, I had cats to take care of, you know, I had, you know, I had the auto litter box, but somebody still had to take out the trash, you know. There was nobody here to do that. I still had to take my trash out. Granted, I think the trash went out like maybe every 2 weeks, you know. Somebody had to get all those dirty diapers. Stop sticking your fingers in there. You're playing with the water now. Stop.
No, this is
No,
mine.
you're playing with it now. So stop. You're not drinking it. You're playing with it.
Water. My is water.
Have a seat, please. Have a
No,
seat.
no,
Have a seat.
no. I want
I want to finish this because it's way past lunchtime for him. Excuse me. Get over here. Get over here. Away from this cord. I'm not playing.
No.
I'm not playing. 1,
No,
2, 3. Have a seat. You better stop kicking me. You're gonna go right to timeout. You just wait. Thank you, Vicky. It's a lot, but I mean, it's behind me now. But I do worry about it with baby number 2, right? Like now it's not just like I gotta worry about what to do with him. And please, no. I said no.
No. It's in the water.
Go get it. Tanya saying thank you. This is good info. I think I'm gonna hire a postpartum doula too with lactation certification. Yeah. It's important. I mean, you just never know, right? I mean, I ended up not needing the lactation help. I mean, the lactation people in the hospital weren't all that helpful to me. You know, I had figured out how to get him. I mean, he latched right away. Not right away, but because I was 3 hours postpartum when I was able to get him to latch instead of within that first hour because I was in the operating room for so long. But he did eventually latch. He stayed latched all the way up to the room. It was kind of sad because I had to unlatch him to move from the gurney to the bed. And but then he was just kind of like, I don't know, ravenous from that point forward. And so, you know, breastfeeding was a little hard, but he latched better in certain positions than he did in others. And the lactation consultant was like, oh, we'll try the football position. And I was just like, he doesn't latch well in that position. And she's like, well, let me see. Okay, well, here, I'll show you. And she's like, well, yeah, I guess he doesn't latch. No, give that here. Because that's why you shouldn't be playing with the water. That's why it's all over the floor now. That's why I put it over there, so it wouldn't end up on my computer. Put the top back on that water bottle before you spill more water. Put the top on the cup. Put the top on the cup and screw it on.
Screw it.
No, do not pour that back in there. Put the straw back in the cup and secure it. You poured it all out. Now it's in your cup and half of it's on the floor. Do not pour it back. Give it here. No, I don't want this empty bottle. Give me the water cup. Bring mommy the water cup. Oh, so you don't need mommy to bring the water to secure the lid back on it. That's what I thought. You better drink that water. If I find more water on the floor, you're going to timeout. I'm not playing. Okay. So, you know, what was I saying? Oh yeah, the lactation. they weren't helpful in the hospital. And then the doulas also offered like the lactation classes. Like I took a class at the hospital before, and I think I took one as like a refresher or whatever because it just came with the package. But yeah, so it's good to have in case you need it. But the hospital did have a number that you can call once you get home. So it's not a necessity that your doula is a consultant. It's nice to have somebody there with you. But just for anybody else, if you don't have a doula or what have you, the hospital generally has a number that you can call for lactation after you leave the hospital. So you can still get advice and help even after you leave the hospital. Come in here. So, and if they don't give it to you, ask, is there a number that you can call? And then if the hospital doesn't have one, maybe check to see if your county has any services that will allow any woman. You don't have to be getting state aid or anything like that. I think that like the county here had some services for like new moms that you could call and get help with lactation and also postpartum depression and stuff like that. So there were numbers that were available here in my county. So those are things that you can look into before you give birth, wherever you are, to make sure that you have the help you need postpartum. Oh, thanks, Vicky. You want to come get him for a week? Give me a break. He is busy. He is busy, especially when I'm talking to the phone. Yes, JB. All right. I know that was long ago, and I was talking about the other thing, but yes, the expectations, right? Same with Atlanta. There's no public transportation in my area. Yeah, it's hard. You know, it really is hard. Still candy canes. Get one for me, baby G. I'm gonna tell you, I got good candy canes because I'm not a fan of peppermint. This is either Jelly Belly or Hawaiian Punch, one or the other. So I got the good candy canes over here. And so, yeah, baby G instead of baby J. Either way, yes, baby G is the nickname, even though his name is Jaden. It's fine. It's fine. Baby J, baby G, both are fine. Thank God for Amazon Fresh and Instacart. Yes, and Walmart. Like I got a Walmart neighborhood market like literally around the corner. So I pass it, taking him to the center and bringing him home. So I have done nothing but pick up and now I have Walmart Plus because I get Paramount Plus for free. But I got Walmart Plus, so the delivery to the house, you know, who needs to go in the store anymore? Although there are certain things that you still need to go into the store if you want to get. But yeah. So like if I want Walmart, I can do a pickup. I can do delivery now, but most of it was pickup. I also had when I was going around to like the little baby shows around Mother's Day, Shipt had a coupon. It was like 50% off of Shipt. So I got it for $50 instead of $100 for the year. And so I had Shipt for postpartum as well. And so I was able to get Target orders, Publix orders delivered directly to the house. And so that was exceptionally helpful as well. So Instacart, Shipt, Walmart, all these places that you can get delivery to the house instead of having to get in the car and pick up, because getting in and out of a car with a newborn is a lot of work and stress too. So delivery was very important. So as to not have to go through the drama of like getting him in. And I tried, because he was born like right before the pandemic. I actually tried to grocery shop in the store with him. The carrier took up most of the cart. I couldn't get what I really needed to get because I couldn't fit it in the cart, you know. And then because I didn't want to take him out of the car seat to put him in the other thing, you know, all that stuff was like germy. So I would have rather his whole car seat go in the shopping cart, but then I couldn't buy all that I needed to buy because his car seat took up the whole thing. So it's just, that would have been a lot easier if I could have just you know, wrote out a list and sent somebody to the store, right? Which is actually something I think the doula asked if she could do. Well, no, I know she was asking to like put a load. She was like, can I put a load in the laundry for you? Is there something in the laundry I can take out and maybe fold? Like she was asking me to do a whole bunch of stuff. And I was just looking at her like, girl, ain't nothing in here for you to do. Not for real. You know, we just been in here. We've been making a whole lot of clothes. You know, we just been home, and I don't do dishes. That ain't my thing. We styrofoam plates and plastic utensils around here. So ain't much to wash in the dishes. I done already washed all the clothes. You know, I've only been home for like a little bit. We haven't really made any laundry, so there's nothing for you to do there. And I was just happy to have somebody to talk to, like in all honesty. So, but you know, not having any visitors and all of that, it's cool for a while. You do miss people and adult conversation, you know. But come here. Okay, never mind. I thought that was something else. No, you good. Stay there. Question: do you ever catch up on your? Do I ever catch up on my finances? I feel like the answer is never. When I catch up, something else needs to be purchased. I mean, I do very well for myself, JB. I complain a lot about the stuff I have to pay for because it's stuff I have to pay for. But I am very blessed in the way that I have the ability to pay for these things one way or another. Now, I'm not saying I just got thousands of dollars sitting around waiting for stuff to break so I can pay for it. I'm not saying that. Sometimes I do have to make moves with the finances, and it does get overwhelming. And I take my beat, I cry about it, and then I get into think mode like, what can I do? How can I do it? And I've just come to the understanding that sometimes God puts us in positions to make us move, right? So like this whole situation with like having to repipe the house and then paying for the driveway and the tree work and all this expensive stuff that I had to do with the house this year, you know, I felt like it was all at once. And even the stuff with this past Thanksgiving, like it was just a lot at once, you know, trying to pay for IVF, you know, in the midst of all of these things happening. And it's just kind of like, I am blessed to have good credit. I am blessed to have available credit. I am blessed to have equity in my home so that these things going on with my home can be paid by the home equity, not necessarily out of my pocket per se, but I got to pay the money back. But either way, these are all avenues and opportunities for me to take care of what needs to get taken care of. You know, I am blessed to be able to have a solution to the issue. Does it hurt? It hurts, right? I would much rather not have to have these bills. But you know, it happens. Am I eating top ramen every day? No. You know, I'm not struggling in that sense. Could I do better? I could. I could always use more money. I pay student loans. You know what I mean? I have bills. You know, these expenses come up. These are the joys of being a homeowner, right? The joys of being a homeowner, you know, having to fix these things yourself. There are times that I wish that I was still renting somewhere, but then I remember how rent is going up and that becomes unpredictable. And then you have to move and that's not fun. And, you know, all that kind of stuff. So it's just, you know, you win some, you lose some. I am also blessed to work for a company that hands out bonuses. There's always tax returns. You know, I have always been the kind of person where I did not like having debt. I do have debt. You know, I think everybody has some kind of debt, especially if you're like a homeowner or what have you, unless you're just independently wealthy. I am not independently wealthy. You know, I have to work, right? It would be great if I didn't have to work. It'd be great if I could share half my bills with somebody. That would be great. But that's not the position that I'm in. So I being the youngest of 6 children, I've watched all my older siblings like leave my mama's house, come back to my mama's house. wreck their credit, and things like that. So I am blessed in the way that I had those lessons as a youngin'. And so I knew very early on that, and also kind of not being treated like the youngest child. I was not spoiled in any way. My brother, who's a year and 9 months older than me, was kind of treated like the youngest child. And I was just, I can't even explain how I was treated. It was definitely not like the youngest. But like, we didn't, my family was basically like middle class, I guess. We didn't have a whole lot, being a teen, I worked, like I got my first job at 16, and I worked hard for everything. I paid for my own college education. My parents did not help in that way, right? I paid and am paying, right, between student loans, scholarships, grants, and things like that. I paid for my own undergrad education. I paid for, I had some tuition reimbursement for my graduate, stuff, but it's just learning finances, making a budget, planning. Like I got my way through undergraduate, like student loans and scholarships only paid for so much. I maxed my credit cards out buying books and software because I was in IT. That stuff was very expensive freshman year. But then I had a co-op, so I would max my credit cards out, paying for books, and then I would work. I worked all through college, and so I would spend the entire time paying those credit cards off so I could max them out again the next semester buying books, right? So I learned how to rob Peter to pay Paul, so to speak, get real creative with my finances, moving things around. As far as like budgeting and really just learning to live off of, like, if I was getting paid every 2 weeks, learning to live off of 2 checks a month. So when that third check came around, that was bonus, and just really just learning to live within my means. So I had a lot of practice at that. There were times that I got maybe a little irresponsible. I had to close a few things just to get those interest rates down and pay them down. And I had to live off of cash where I had no credit card really to rely on. And that was me putting my big girl panties on, saying we got to do something, about these finances. And so I made those moves, and I had to live in that way, and I survived. I mean, I didn't have anybody to rely on. I still don't. So if I get in financial trouble, there is nobody for me to call, right? To say, can you give me a couple? Can I borrow a couple $100 here or there? There's nobody to call. If I need a couple $100 before my next paycheck, I'm at the what do they call it, the paycheck loan place, right? I'm at that place trying to get a few extra dollars before my next paycheck. There is nobody that I can call. So I just learned stop kicking me. I just learned very early on that I can only depend on myself. And so when there is no money, there is credit. And so when you don't have money, credit is your best friend. But you have to be responsible with it, because when you wreck your credit, then what do you have? There's nothing left. And when emergencies happen, credit seems to help in a way. When something costs thousands of dollars and I don't have thousands of dollars, can I pay that on time? That's where credit comes in. And you make that a priority to pay it off to free up those finances. So, and I've also been blessed in my salaries. So I do pretty well for myself. But I can say I do catch up. But I feel like when the devil comes for me, it is always at my finances, because that is my vulnerable place, because there is nobody to help me. If I'm in a bad place financially, there is nobody to help me. There is nobody to call. There is no mom. I can call my mom, but she ain't got no money. My dad is deceased. My siblings ain't got no money either. They're all calling me. That has always been the case since I was a teenager. They were all calling me, asking me. When I was in college with my credit cards, they were asking me to get advances on my credit card to help them. Because I was the only fiscally responsible person. I shouldn't, as the youngest sibling, be the one everybody came to, but I was. So I had to, and I got burned doing that too, you know, with my siblings. So I just learned very early to protect my credit, to protect my finances, to not go above and beyond my means. I do like nice things, like everybody else. I get that honest from my mom. My mom was not a fiscally responsible person. I still don't think she is. But I like nice things. I get that from her. So, you know, but I work hard. You know, I work hard, and I when I get extra money, I tend to pay bills down first. Like tax returns. When I think of tax returns, I don't think of, ooh, what can I get? I'm thinking of what debt can I pay off to free up my monthly cash flow. Right. That's where my mind goes. So I'm always thinking about my money, right? And when a lot of things happen, I'm not going to say I don't panic about how I'm going to pay for certain things, because I do. But again, you know, it's kind of like it works itself out. I have been blessed in that way where it works itself out. And, you know, sometimes I've had to rob Peter to pay Paul. That's okay. You know, you do, you know, catch up. When I moved here to Florida, you know, after my bad breakup with my ex, there's the whole series of videos on that. I didn't have a whole lot of money, and I wasn't paying rent anywhere. I wasn't used to paying rent, and now I had to pay rent and utilities. And I couldn't live how I was used to living. I was living real good before I had to pay rent somewhere. And there were times where I did not have food, right? My refrigerator was pretty bare. I like when I moved on my own, like I had nothing. Like nobody helped me with the move. Like I didn't realize, like, there are things you take for granted when you move into your place for the first time, like having dishes and utensils and cups in a microwave. It's like I ordered out, and it's like, how am I going to reheat my food? I got to use aluminum foil in the oven, right? So it's just like, oh my God, like all these things you take for granted, because I kind of went from my mom's house into my boyfriend's house, and he had been living on his own for a while, so he had all these things. And so now I'm like finally moving out on my own. I had nothing. Right? I barely had furniture, you know. I didn't have a dining room set, and I didn't have pots and pans, and, you know, lamps. I didn't realize I needed lamps. So it's like I moved into my apartment, it's like there's no light in here. So I ended up, you know, thank God for the people who you know, gave me like Target gift cards because I was moving. Like just as a gift. This is like a go away gift. Like, oh, you're moving to another state, and, you know, you kind of need this. Like I finagled my move situation because I was broke. Like I was, hey, get in here. Come in here where I can see you. Probably got another candy cane. Get in here. So like I was so broke. I had to, like, I basically, like how I finagled like my job coming down here is they wanted to give me I think it was like $1,000 geographical. It was like a move kind of a bonus, like because I had to move. And I, you know, was able to pay for a trip to come down here to look for a place to live. But I was kind of counting on that $1,000 to like move, to do my actual move. And it came down to the point where I had to tell HR, I said, listen, I'm either going to be able to move to start where you want me to start and not have a place to live, or I'm going to have a place to live and not be able to move. Like, because I was counting on that $1,000 you know, bonus that was coming with the new job. And so they went to the I guess the manager or the group or whatever that was hiring me, and they worked out a different move situation for me, where now I went from, or actually no, maybe it was like $5,000, whatever it was like a bunch of money. So they actually changed my relocation benefit to one where they hired movers to come and move my stuff, right? Like Grable came in, they packed up my stuff at my mom's house, they put it on a truck and they shipped it down. And then they gave me a 10-day like temporary living allowance until I could get into my apartment. And then there was $1,000 that I was going to get after that. And then because I drove down from Philadelphia, which was $1,000, I remember I was getting paid 42 cents a mile, I think it was. And they would have shipped my car and flew me down, but I opted to drive down just so I could get the mileage payment to get this money so I could pay my rent the next month after moving. Like, this is the plan, the level of planning that went in, like, you know, because I thought I was going to get some money and none of that money was coming up front. They were like, no, you don't get that money until 2 weeks after you start. And I'm like, I'm in a bad situation here then. And so they worked it out and switched that up. So everything got moved for me. I didn't have to pay that. They were giving me $1,000 plus, because I drove my own car down, they were giving me money on that. So I was able to finagle that and like make a little bit of money to live for a couple of months. And then, you know, it wasn't like a break in my pay or anything, because I was moving, I was still working for the same company, but it was just, you know, sometimes you got to learn how to survive. It's about survival, you know. And so that is all still with me, because I was surviving as a teenager, you know, working. I was surviving as a college student, working and trying to pay for this private university that I was going to. And I don't want to say I regret it, but I feel like if I'd have just went to Temple, which was the state school, I wouldn't have all these student loans that I have right now, you know. So Drexel University is a private university. It's a great university for what I went to school with. The engineering school, excellent, you know, program. My education was excellent, but man, oh man, am I paying for that? Okay, I'm paying for all of those credits, man. So it's just, I learned it it's a long way around, but I learned at a very early age to manage my money well. And it does get overwhelming, and I do still feel like I do get angst, like, oh my God, how am I going to pay for all of this? I just see my money like a little bit like that emoji with the wings on the money. That's what my money was doing all this year. 2022 was the year of the flyaway money for me. And you know, but I also bring it back to, you know, this was my starter home, and this money that I'm putting into the house goes to my resale value. And, you know, I have to think about it like that instead of I got to pay all this money. So I try to find that silver lining too. It ain't easy, but you know, I know I've been talking for a while, but hey, Stephanie. So it's a lot. It's a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I get overwhelmed. I try not to complain too much though, but that's just the independent person in me. Because what can anybody else do about it? What's the point in complaining? Nobody can do anything about it. It's not like somebody's gonna come write me a check because I complained about all this stuff that I had to pay for. You know, it would be nice to have a man step in and be like, "Look here, you work hard. Let me pay this off for you." That would be awesome. I wouldn't even say, "Oh, thank you. Where you come from? Am I gonna see you again?" That would be nice. I'm trying to tell you, it's a lot. It's a lot, but you know, stuff happens. You know, stuff happens, and you got to play the hand you're dealt. That's what I always say. You always got to play the hand you're dealt, and it ain't always a good hand. Y'all know the Uno players, the spades players, the pinochle players. You play the hand you're dealt. You can do a whole lot with it. Sometimes you can't always win, but maybe you can break even. You know. Oh yeah, they sent me a spreadsheet of the doulas and the certifications, so they use to narrow down the selection. They have a separate doula for postpartum. Oh, okay, yeah. All right. Did the lactation team in the hospital check for tongue ties? Maybe. I think so. He didn't have anything. He didn't have anything. I think they did. He didn't have any trouble latching. So maybe I can't remember, to be honest. I feel like they did, because I think she had people around her that she was training. So I feel like they did. If they did, it was very quick. Because really they only came to see me like one time. I guess they felt like I didn't need their help, so they didn't really come around again. Maybe they came around one other time. I don't know. It was a whole lot going on. That was 3 years ago. It was such a blur. It was so much going on in the hospital. So possibly. I believe they did check for tongue ties though. I believe. All right, let's see. That would be me. My goddaughter was a preemie, and I was so scared to hold her. Yeah, well, as a preemie, that's a different story. I probably would have been nervous with a preemie because they're so small, right? And so delicate. But he was a hefty, just shy of 8 pounds, you know, super solid. Come here. What is in your mouth? Probably another candy cane. Come here. Get your fingers out of your ears. What is in your mouth? Open your mouth.
Ha ha ha.
Let me see. Stick your tongue out. Because now your tongue is green. You chewing on something. Smells like that strawberry lemonade or whatever that is.
My poopy.
Candy cane.
It's poopy.
You poopy.
Pee.
You should have went in the potty.
I don't know, Mommy. What's a one finger? 1, 2, 3 fingers.
3 fingers? I think you got more than 3 fingers on that hand.
3. 3.
3?
3.
He's trying to make a 3. Okay. You don't do 3 like this? 3? No? Or you do a 3 like this?
3.
You do 3 like this.
Wait a Mommy.
No. What?
On 3.
On 3?
On 3. 10 is 3.
1, 2, 3.
Oh!
All right. When my 7-year-old was an infant, her crying was soft and sweet and not irritating. And that really helped me. Some moms get really bothered at the yelling, whining babies. Yeah, the screeching. It's the screeching. No, this is mine. Y'all hear him telling me calm down? I'm telling you, I'm hoping it all comes back to me. I had a really enjoyable nursing experience with Cheyenne, but I won't be fully prepared. But I want to be fully prepared just in case. Yeah, absolutely. Arlett, we almost went to the same school. Drexel was my first choice, but Temple came through financial. Right. I had to get on Drexel. Let me tell you, I gave up a full ride in 2 colleges to go to Drexel. I had no intentions of staying in Philadelphia for school. I only applied to 4 universities. Drexel was 4th on the list because I was interested in the co-op program. I thought that was interesting, and I only went to their info session just to get out of class. One of my friends dragged me to the info session, and then I got interested in the co-op program, which put them on my radar. But I was not looking at any schools in Philadelphia. It was my intent to get out of my mother's house, and I had no intentions of staying in the city. I had applied for and gotten into the University of Pittsburgh, which had an excellent computer science program. I already knew some other girls from my high school that went there, who graduated before me. I looked at Widener University. I applied there. And I applied to University of West Virginia, also another excellent computer science program, which was in Morgantown, West Virginia, which I hear was probably not the best for Black people, but I had full rides, room and board, 100% paid to University of West Virginia and University of Pittsburgh. I think I had something close to a full ride to Widener, but like I said, my father had his series of strokes. I mentioned this before. Get over here with that candy cane. Get over here right now. Bring it. Go pick it up and give it to mommy. I knew you had another candy cane.
I was hungry.
I bet. No, you don't get all of it.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Candy.
I'm going to take all the candy canes off the tree because you don't know how to keep your hands off. I knew I smelled the candy cane on him, y'all. It's like a strawberry lemonade, something or other. No Hawaiian punch. So my dad had a series of strokes August, so the summer before my senior year in high school. My mother was not very kind to him. Those series of strokes left him essentially disabled, his short-term memory. He never really regained very well. He couldn't he couldn't remember, so couldn't go back to work. And so I wanted to be around to watch out for my dad. And so that's why I decided to go to Drexel. I applied to Drexel even though they were in the city as a resident. The financial aid package was not great. And I was going to change from a resident to a commuter, but I needed a better financial aid package. And so when I called the financial aid office, I was just like, listen, I'm coming from one of the top high schools in the city. I went to Philadelphia High School for Girls. My GPA was like off the charts. What's up with this financial aid package? And they were like, well, we don't hand out 4 rides here. Good luck at whatever college you choose to go to. And I was like, gas, clutch the pearls, all of that great stuff. So I called the recruiter who I didn't know her personally, but she was a Black woman, and we had met in person, developed a rapport and all of that. And I called her and I said, listen, Drexel's my number one choice. I'm literally handing up full rides to like 2 or 3 other schools. This is my number one choice. I want to go here, but I need a little bit more help. I'm not asking for a full ride, but I need to get closer. My current financial aid package is for a resident. I can't afford the residency, so I'm going to change to a commuter, which I know is going to get this. I'm not asking you to get me 100%. I'm just asking you to get me closer. And so she hung up. She said, I'm going to see what I can do. You'll hear back from me. So I hung up with her, and then she sent me my new financial aid package, which was essentially the same exact package with the exception of me being a commuter instead of a resident. And that was close enough. I said, I'm coming with scholarship. I'm coming with this. I'm coming with that. I don't need a full ride. I just need better than what this is. And so they gave me the same exact package that I had as a resident, as a commuter, and that's what did the deal for me to go there. I'm still regretting not going to a state school or not doing that full ride because I'm still paying for these student loans. But at the same time, I don't know. Would I be in the same place that I am today had I gone to another school? My life experience would be different had I gone to a different school. I was glad to. That was a 5-year program too. It took 5 years to graduate because of the co-op program, but I came out with that professional experience, that hands-on professional experience that's made me who I am today. So I don't really regret it, but oh man, when I pay those student loans, it hurts. It hurts. So, some stuff you just can't take back because you just don't know what trajectory your life would have gone on if you didn't take that path. I think I made the right choice though. I was able to be home close to my dad. He passed away in 2000. I came out of Drexel in 2003. He passed away November 26th, the day after Thanksgiving in 2004. And then, everything went to hell with my ex, and I was out of there and moved to Florida in 2005. So, I think, life happens the way it's supposed to happen. And I can't say I would change much of that. I do think there were probably some decisions I probably would have made differently if I could do some things over, but yeah. I think going to Drexel, and part of me kind of wishes I'd have just went to Temple. Save me some money, but get in here, out of that kitchen. Come in here where I can see you, sir. Come in here where I can see you. One, I don't want your feedback. I just want you to get in here where I can see you. What are you doing in there? Oh, where did oatmeal come from?
Oatmeal.
Where did this come from? Oh, excuse you. Say, excuse me, I burpee. Say, excuse me. All them candy canes you've been eating. This is your breakfast that you didn't touch. Yeah, I think they check for tongue tie if they see a problem with the latch. Okay. Baby G is your twin. How old is he? 3. Tanika, 3 this past October. Bree, I'm going to Drexel currently for my second master's. It's a bit pricey, but they have fast track programs. Yeah. I mean, Drexel's always been like the co-op program. The semesters are 10 weeks long, so they move. The classes move pretty quick. So I don't know. I got a great education. I didn't have the best experience there, but I got a great education. I can't lie. Same. I wanted the co-op program. TU came through with the full scholarship. I'm telling you, there are parts of me that wishes I went with the full ride, right? I probably could have. I mean, if I applied to Drexel, I probably could have applied to Temple as well. My scholarship money would have went a lot further with Temple, but they didn't have the co-op program. And like I said, I wasn't trying to stay in Philly, so that's probably why I didn't bother to apply to Temple. But it was a lot. And I really didn't appreciate them saying, we'll hand out full rides. Good luck at whatever college you choose. I was like, wait, what? That made me really want to shut the door on Drexel. But the reality, give it here. Give it here before you break it again. Thank you. But the reality was I wanted to be home with my dad. And that was more important than the shenanigans that was going on at the bursar's office. You know what I'm saying? So I think I paid for it. But I got to be there for my dad and be around and kind of watch some of the shenanigans and stuff that went on with that.
Mommy,
and so for that, I am grateful. And the recruiter really did come through for me as far as keeping me with the same financial aid package, but just changing my status to commuter. That made a world of difference in the amount of money that I got. And it does pay to like fight, like to call them and be like, listen, you're my number one choice, but y'all ain't making it easy for me to make this choice when I'm getting I got offers for full rides to go somewhere else, so yeah, I mean, they were your number one choice, Arlett. I mean, I don't know, I was a little desperate, to stay in Philly for my dad. So I think that's the only reason why I made the call to the recruiter after getting after that phone call with the bursar's office. So because I was just like, gasp. What? Good luck or whatever. It was almost good luck. Almost would have took that full ride to West Virginia. Went on about my business. Okay? But yeah. So I don't know. Who knows? I mean, if I didn't go to Drexel, God, where would I be? Like I said, it would depend on whether I went to Widener, which was like suburb, or if I went to Pittsburgh or West Virginia. Who knows? Mm-hmm. Jada, BJC said hi. We'll say hi to BJC. Baby Joy Chaser. He's eating his cold oatmeal now. I guess my baby's hungry. But he didn't eat his breakfast, so he's really hungry. It's good, huh? You didn't even want to taste it. You eat the oatmeal? It's blueberry oatmeal. Mommy put real blueberries in. I worked really hard on that oatmeal. You didn't even want to eat it. So, yeah. So I know I sit up here and I throw out all these numbers about these things that I have to pay for on my own. And then, but that's part of being a single woman, right? Paying for things on your own, doing things on your own. Well, there is more oatmeal, but we'll eat something else, okay?
Okay.
All right, mommy's gonna round up this call because it's been almost 3.5 hours. Watch out, baby. And then we'll both get something to eat because my stomach's talking too. So yeah. So I don't know. Did I answer the question? Or did I answer the response? Or do you have a better idea what it's like bringing a baby home as a single mom by choice? It doesn't start with just bringing a baby home. It starts before that. Or at least the clear separation and not having a partner in this was clear to me even before the baby came home. It was clear to me just in this process in general, not really having somebody to ride with me. Aside from you ladies, but just not really having somebody who is invested in this process to get the baby. That rings really loudly, as far as being a single mom by choice, especially as a woman who would have preferred to have had a husband and, had a partner in this. I'm not giving up hope. Maybe I'll find somebody, but it is what it is. It's hard being a single mom by choice. It's not a simple thing. I know,
there are a lot of us, we're out here, we're doing it, we appear to be doing very well at it, but it is not peaches and cream every single day, you know. And I don't want anybody to have any delusions of grandeur about that. Like, it is hard, and it is very difficult. And in those situations when you need somebody, or you know, or like, you know, when you don't have a babysitter, you know, or somebody that you trust to watch your child. Or like, I have not been away from baby G overnight, you know, in his 3 years. And there was talk about going to Chicago for a work trip, and I was like, ooh, 4 days, that's a lot. I have not been away from my baby for 1 day, but to be away from him for 4 days, and then it's like, who would I leave him with? And then part of me is like, okay, if I come out there, I'm gonna have to bring him with me, you know, and you know, find somebody to watch him, care.com or what have you. You know, I've met a lot of wonderful ladies, you know, through this process, through YouTube, through Instagram, and you know, fortunately, there is, I don't know if you guys follow her, Butterfly Poet. She worked as a nanny, you know, and so I was like, she worked and she had her own business. I think she kind of had her own business. And so, you know, like my thoughts, like, I'm going to bring him out here. I'm going to ask her, you know, if she can recommend somebody, you know, having watched her journey on YouTube, and you know, engaging with her, you know, kind of in real life. I've never met her in person, but, you know, she is, you know, based out of Chicago area, you know, so trying to find somebody who could like watch him, you know, during the day while I was out there. Like, all of these logistics, you know, that you have to think about. Like, who do you leave when you don't have family or otherwise people that you trust, right? When you have to travel somewhere, or you have to be somewhere overnight. Like, heaven forbid that I have to have like a hospital stay or something. Like, oh my God, who would my kids go with? You know, I'm still, you know, with the loss of my sister and the loss of my niece, I still haven't picked an emergency contact yet. You know, people, like, I go to these doctor's appointments, they're like, you don't have an emergency contact listed. And I'm like, I'm still working on that. Like, it's hard. It's hard. And I have trust issues, and I have trouble like allowing people in to my inner circle, and it's hard. It's very hard for me, and it's hard to trust, and it's just hard in general. So I don't have it all together. It may seem like I do, but I don't have it all together. There are places that I really, really do struggle, and I haven't done a lot outside of having, you know, baby G, because I don't have really like people to leave him with. I mean, I've been very fortunate. My neighbor was nice enough to like watch him while I went and had an ultrasound appointment, you know, but that's just for a few hours, and she's right next door, you know. You know, my mom friend is always asking to help, but you know, she's got her hands full, you know, with her own family, and you know, her own medical issues and stuff. And so, you know, you just don't want to be a burden to people. And that's something that I'm working on as well, is accepting help when offered, you know, and not declining. And you know, I'm a work in progress there still. Here. Look, now it's getting spilled on the floor because you're playing around. Come on, you're just making a mess. I agree to get wake up calls while still pregnant, like having to get my newborn. Yeah. Oh, like getting my neighbors to bring the crib that was delivered into my house. Oh yeah, child. Listen, the crib and the dresser. Fortunately, I have a dolly, so I was able to bring it in, but I only have, get down. Do not jump. Get down. 1. 2. Get off my coffee table. Do not jump. You don't have a safe place to jump. Get down.
Okay. So we.
And then trying to get those 2 packages up the stairs, right, to the room where baby G's room is, so I could put it together, was a whole other thing. I was very pregnant, but I won't say that. Hold on. Get over here now. Get over here now. 1. Sit down. Don't move. I use physics. I'm gonna put it that way. I got both things up the stairs by myself, but I used physics to do it. I laid the boxes flat on the stairs where they could just slide, and I just used the right angles, and I was able to push them up the stairs without straining myself. I was a little sweaty by the time I got it up the stairs, but I got it up the stairs, and I didn't have to lift anything particularly heavy to do it. But yeah, I probably should not have done that by myself, but again, get her done mode, right? You know. And those neighbors barely spoke English. I mean, if it's not for the grace of strangers, right? You know, I still have those single mom moments. Like baby G and I just went to Disney, right? So in July, my girlfriend was down here with her son, and we stayed in a resort, and we had 3 days. Was it 3 days in Disney? 3 days in Disney, 2 days in Universal. But we caught the vid, right? So we missed 2 days in Disney. So Disney was nice enough to comp those days that we weren't able to use, but I only had until November 12th to use them, right? So I used 1 day around his birthday in October, and I used the other one right before Thanksgiving to go to the park. And both times, right, we had to get on the tram to get to the park, and I got his big old jogging stroller, and those trams don't really fit the strollers. And I mean, if not for the kindness of strangers helping me with his stroller, getting on there, and he was a toddler, you can walk around. Can you imagine if I had like a little baby, you know, trying to do that? Just the kindness of strangers, you know. You just. And even Thanksgiving week, when I was trying to like pressure wash my driveway, and my pressure washer wasn't working, and the neighbor across the street, who I had never met, saw me struggling to start my pressure washer and came over and tried to help. And when my pressure washer wasn't acting right, he offered his own pressure washer, which was working. And so I was able to get the driveway done amongst all the other drama Thanksgiving week with everything else happening. But you know, just the kindness of strangers, you know what I mean? And just being able to accept help when offered. And it really does boil down to accepting help. And that's one of my very large struggles, is accepting help when offered. Even something as simple as I'm pushing a stroller and somebody says, "Do you need me to get the door?" My immediate answer is, "Oh no, I got this." When it was it that much for me to let somebody open the door for me and hold the door, because I did struggle to get out the door. I knew I could do it. I've done it before, but it's like it would have been a lot easier if they just held the door for me. You know what I mean? So it's just something as simple as that. I still have issue accepting help, you know, and that's important. I think you gotta accept help, you know, as a single mom by choice. Raising children definitely takes a village. The kindness of strangers. I mean, in this October, we took a trip to Philly so he could meet my mom. I filmed all of this, y'all. It'll probably be a year before you see it. But like his super heavy car seat, trying to get on the plane, because this is my first time flying with him. I wasn't aware of the nice lightweight airplane safe car seats. I'm taking his super duper heavy Grovey car seat that's in my car on this flight, this heavy thing on my back. And then, you know, he had his own seat because he's over 2, and so I wanted him to sit in the car seat because I didn't think the lap belt was good and secure for him. But now I know there are these other belts where you can get shoulder straps for young kids that will go on the airplane belt. If all these things I didn't know about, but I know about them now. Either way, if not for the kindness of strangers, and I mean somebody's husband literally carrying my bags off the plane just so I could get out of there with this heavy behind car seat. I still got to figure out how much this car seat weighs. It's heavy as I don't know what. But like, I probably wouldn't have made it on the plane, off the plane, if it weren't for the kindness of these strangers, who were offering to help. And I could I have looked at them side-eyed and said, you just trying to steal my bags or whatever. That wasn't the case. They were really just trying to help. Like, can I get something from the overhead? Can I get something down from the overhead? They just saw a single mom struggling with her kid, trying to get all this stuff on the plane. And we're like, I gotta help. I can't just do nothing. You know what I mean? So some people wouldn't, you just gotta be thankful for the graces that come. And, we ask for blessings, but we also have to be ready to receive them when they come. Bless the baby. So that's about accepting the help, like being able to being receptive, to the blessings when they come. Because it's one thing to get a blessing, it's another one to not be receptive when the blessing comes, So I'm a work in progress still. I made use of Thumbstack and TaskRabbit to do some things, especially putting items together. Well, Heather, I actually like doing that kind of thing. But I will say, like with the nursery, I did pay someone to paint the nursery. I had to hang a new door, right? So I had someone. I purchased the door. He picked the door up from Lowe's, and he cut the hole for the doorknob, and he hung it on the hinges. I stained the door myself. I kind of wish I'd asked him to stain the door because that did kind of make me a little sick. Come here. Give me that candy cane. Give it here. No more candy canes. You need to eat lunch. No candy. No, it's no more oatmeal. You ate it all. Hold another candy cane.
No.
Yes. Don't get any more candy canes off the tree. He's getting them off the back of the tree too, because I put the blue ones in the back. But so certain things I did get help with. Other things I was just trying to do as much as I could do by myself. But again, I was being difficult and not really accepting help when it was offered to me, and I still need to do that a lot more now.
It's my
putting together furniture. Putting together the furniture, like I put together the crib and the dresser. I like doing that kind of thing. Like they're like grown-up jigsaw puzzles. You know what I mean? Do you think they could help with the fryer? Installing the fryer? That's right, but maybe. Is it safe to have my diffuser on while I'm prepping for stems? I guess it depends on what's in the diffuser. Like, I don't know, my endocrinologist was like, definitely during first trimester, don't use any like plug-in scent things like the Febreze or the Glade or whatever, because he was like, everything causes cancer or what have you. So I did stay away, like in my first trimester, I did stay away from my Febreze plugins. I didn't get any relaxer during my first trimester, but I think the relaxer thing, I don't know, people were saying you should do that. But I think for me, it was more about,
what, Mommy?
I think it was more about the possibility that the relaxer would not react the same to my hair due to the hormone. So I had heard stories, and my hairdresser had told a story about trying to dye a pregnant woman's hair, and it came out orange. And I think she was trying to dye her hair brown or something, and it wasn't the mix of the chemicals. It was just.
What, Mommy? Thank you, Mommy.
Thank you.
What's a candy cane?
No candy cane. Stop taking them off the tree, sir.
Thank you, Mommy. I thought
you saying okay.
I don't know.
All right.
I don't know.
So I mean, there are certain things,
Three,
your
five,
body chemistry
five.
changes, you know, under the hormones and stuff. So there are certain things you might want to stay away from for that. And then, you know, there's some argument. No, don't break them. So you just broke this one. No, I'll put it back on the tree. I want you to stop pulling them off the tree though. So I don't know. I think it just depends on what you put in the diffuser. Like if you know that the oils are organic and they're essential oils, there's probably certain essential oils you might need to stay away from. You know, during certain parts of the process, and you know, when you get pregnant. You know, but I'm not an expert in saying what they should be. But I would think it just depends on what's in the diffuser. But if it's something that, you know, I mean, I don't know. We'll have to consult Dr. Google on that one. Heather. Alrighty. Oh, okay. Yeah. So, ooh, child. All right. So that is it. I don't know. You guys still there, right? Yeah, you're still there. All right. So it's been over 3.5 hours. I'm just up here running my mouth. I'm actually starting to feel a little faint because I need to eat something. Looks like we lost about half the folks anyway. Because it is getting late. We've been on here for a while. And yeah, man, it's tough. It's tough being single mom by choice, you know. No candy canes until after lunch, okay? No candy until after lunch. What's in your mouth? What's in your mouth? What did you just spit out? Good boy. Yeah, because you're chewing up everything. You're like a little gerbil.
That's the process.
The who?
What is the process? A process.
I don't know what you're saying, baby.
I know the process.
He knows what he's saying. I don't.
What does you do? Process. Sorry, I not go bye-bye.
You go bye-bye, yes. They'll be back.
I know the missions that go bye-bye.
Yeah, and then Nathan go bye-bye. Right.
I know
You need to leave. You need to leave. Thank you for hitting me in my head. All right, I'm gonna go. I think I've been on here long enough. He is about sick of me, and I'm about sick of him. But we both need to eat something. So I'm gonna go and eat. Arlett, hopefully, I responded appropriately. But I did think it was important for me to respond because, you know, especially having the subchorionic hematoma and, you know, all the other things that I experienced as far as being a single mom, you know, my car breaking down and all of that great stuff, all of that is kind of important to the experience, right? Of like really not having like that sort of built-in support or extra body around to help in this process, right? Before birth, after birth, during birth, you know, all of that. So hopefully the information will help somebody out there, whether they're making a decision to be a single mom by choice or whether they're preparing to bring a baby home, you know, or whatever the case may be. So Tamika, hopefully my response was helpful to you as well as Arlett's, because I know you had requested that from her. But yeah, just the biggest advice I can give is just accept help when it is offered. You know, and And I will say this, just to like pay it forward, and that is, I don't even remember, I can't even remember where I was. I think I was just in a grocery store with my baby, and this woman walked up to me and she just said, "You're doing a great job." I don't know her from a can of paint, didn't know her, never met her before, never had any conversation with her. She just walked up to me and said, "You're doing a great job." And she doesn't know my story, what I'm going through, what I might have been going through at the time. But I think sometimes, especially as like a new mom with like a little baby, or even a not so new mom with a toddler that you're trying to manage, sometimes you just need to hear that. And I think she, as an older woman, was wise enough to know that sometimes moms just need to hear you're doing a good job. Doesn't matter what you think you're doing. Sometimes you just need to hear that you're doing a good job. And so I'm just saying that, where, if you're out, like, remember that you're doing a good job, right? If you're having a hard time as a new mom or as a not so new mom, remember you're doing a good job. Your kid is you managed to keep the kid alive, you're doing a good job, right? But then also, like, if you're out and you see someone, trying to survive, or whether they appear to be struggling or not with their child, to just look at them, smile, and say, "Doing a good job," and I think that triggered in me because I was watching the episode of Bluey. I mean, my kid watches Bluey, but I watch Bluey as well. And you know, what's the little mommy's name? She was telling her story about her mom group, and one of the moms who had like a bunch of kids came over with her, and I guess she was feeling down about how she was doing as a mom. She told her she was doing a really good job. And I think, as a mom, we need to hear that sometimes. And so I'm just asking those who are watching this video to just pay it forward. If you see a mom out there, you don't have to know their story. You don't even have to have a conversation with them, but just go over to them, look them in the eye, and say you're doing a good job. Because every mom needs to hear that. Every now and again, we need that reminder. So pay it forward for me, please. That's just my wish for the new year, that we all pay it forward. So yes, I am. If there are any questions, if there's something I didn't handle in here, you're welcome, Tanika.
What do you need?
I might be the candy game. I might be slow to the comments, but I'll get to you in the comments, I swear. So if there's a question, if you're on the replay crew and I didn't get to answer it, or something that's just burning, please, no. Stop taking candy canes off the tree, please. Hit me up in the comments. I'm happy to answer your questions. Pardon me, but I have to go. It's been almost 4 hours. Thank you, ladies. The lives would be nothing without you all. I mean, I can talk, but I can't sit up here and talk to myself all this time, right? So your questions and your participation are greatly appreciated. You all make the lives. And don't forget, I will be back here New Year's Eve, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Time, for our regularly scheduled programming and shenanigans, to bring in the new year. So I will be here in front of my fireplace, which has kind of sort of died out. So I got to put some wood back on it, because I'm feeling all the cool air coming in. So thank you again, ladies. Sticky baby dust to all those out here still in the wait and trying. Good luck, Tanya, as I know you're going into January. I think a few other people are also going into January. You're welcome, JB. I'm happy to answer all the questions, right? I think it's important, right? So, thank you all for being here and participating, and I hope you've enjoyed your Christmas holiday and this sort of holiday season. And in the event that I don't get to see you or talk to you before the New Year. Cheers to the new year, everybody.
1, 2, 3. Thank you, Mommy.
Yes, yes, baby, with spiked eggnog. I will have wine. I might have some eggnog, but it won't have rum in it. I might make it. Well, I don't know. Depending on how I'm feeling, I might make an eggnog milkshake or something. I don't know. I just feel like I just want to eat everything under the sun. I can't really do that, but I think that's the cycle looming this week. That's the cycle looming. 2 weeks after a retrieval, here comes the cycle. So it is due. So but yeah, coming up next for me is a water sign SHG. I got an SHG coming up as well. They are waiting for me to drop a bleed, but I was hoping to get it done before the end of this year. But since I got to drop a bleed before that happens, I'm not gonna make it before the end of the year. So I'll be doing that probably 1st of January. RE thinks I might have a fibroid or something in there. I don't think there's a fibroid in there, but we'll see. We'll do the SHG and see what happens. And you know, hopefully I don't have anything to resolve in my uterus in preparation for transfer. But like I said, I'm not looking to transfer until probably like March-ish anyway. So we'll see what happens from there. Hopefully there's nothing that requires resolution. But so far so good on everything else. I'm gonna get myself and my baby something to eat. Sticky baby dusted all of those. Thank you again for joining this very long live. Tanika, I will see you in the replay. I guess as you catch up with IVF number 4. And for everyone else who's going to join me, see you New Year's Eve. Until then, au revoir. Bye-bye. You want to say bye-bye? Come on, say bye-bye to the people.
Bye, people.
Bye, people. Come on, look over here. Come over here. Put it on in the camera.
Bye,
You want to say
people.
bye-bye? Blow kisses? Bye. I'm trying. Mommy, kiss. Let's get some lunch. Okay. Say bye-bye. Oh, bless the baby. You gotta cover your gotta cover your mouth when you sneeze.
Bye-bye.
All right, y'all.